since 1989. We out and about. She said, look, look at your father on the poster. I looks up. It's a wanted poster for child support for $24,000.
This DNA test proves that I am Elena's father. I will fight for my full custody rights.
And I will fight you for custody.
There's no way he is getting my daughter.
So when a woman says to you, I want to have your baby, and you say, no, I really don't want you to, and you're still having sex without protecting yourself, you're setting yourself up.
That's my first time. So I said, oh, that's him? Yeah, that's him. We took down the poster board.
Oh my God.
This is the only picture I got of my father is him on $24,000.
Mr. Forrest, you're convinced you're
Elena. I am or he is.
I'm saying, are you convinced you're her biological father?
There's a possibility, yes, but I don't know for 100%.
Only had sex with Iris 5 times.
That's a lie. You've never used a condom now with the girls that he's cheating on me with.
Can you even handle this? Judge Lake kicks things off, and Mr. Webb is already throwing curveballs, saying he's been camping out for 2 years just to tell everyone he might be the daddy, not the other guy. It's like starting a movie right at the good part. Buckle up, because the roller coaster is just getting started.
Mr. Webb, you have been waiting 2 years for this day. You claim the defendant, Mrs. Forrest, left you for dead only to find out once you got out of a coma that she was pregnant and that the baby could be yours or her husband.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. Ms. Forrest spills the beans that she jumped ship to Mr. Webb and her hubby was in a pickle. And oops, no raincoat. This is where the plot thickens with baby daddy mysteries. You won't believe the can of worms that's about to open next.
My husband got in some trouble and I ended up meeting Mr. Webb through one of my friends. We hit it off. I ended up leaving Mr. Forrest for Mr. Webb.
So you began a sexual relationship?
Yes, Your Honor.
And were you using protection at the time?
No, Your Honor.
Just when you think it's chill, boom, plot twist. After Mr. Webb wakes up from a coma, he finds out Ms. Forrest might be having his mini-me. The tea is piping hot here, folks. As the saga of Who's the Daddy ramps up big time, get ready, because this soap opera's got nothing on the next scene.
As soon as I got out the hospital, I had got a phone call saying that she was pregnant. I heard it from my aunt first. She had called me and told me that it was a possibility that Elena was my child.
So that means she was admitting that she also had slept with other people?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you think the other person was just her husband?
At the time, no, Your Honor.
Yikes, get a load of this mess. They're trying to match the baby timeline with Mr. Webb's hospital drama. It's like doing math homework that no one understands. It's crucial, because it might just prove Mr. Webb's the real dad. Hang on, because the truth bomb coming next is huge.
That is a statement from my mom, and he was there the very next morning in a motel with her.
Is that true?
We were already broke up. We've done called it quits. We done called it everything.
Me and my wife had already
Your Honor.
started talking back about getting back together. Well, after they done broke up like 3 days before he ever went to the hospital.
No, Your Honor.
And now you have reconciled with your husband.
But I tried to see him. His mother would not let me see him.
You thought it couldn't get any crazier, right? Wrong. Ms. Forrest admits she's been playing keep away with the baby because she thinks Mr. Webb might pull a fast one and run. Talk about drama. And just when you think it's all out in the open, the next part dials up the cray-cray.
Elena is 2 years old, and you have still not held this baby? Never one time?
No, Your Honor.
I'm afraid that if he does get to see my daughter, that he can run off with her, and
Because he's
there's
done
nothing I
threatened
can do to get
So
her
you
back.
admit that you've been blocking Mr. Webb from seeing Elena?
Yes, Your Honor.
Here it comes, the showdown at the OK Corral. Both Mr. Webb and Mr. Forrest are staking their claim before the big DNA reveal. They're so fired up, you'd think they were auctioning off a superhero cape. Watch out, because the bombshell they're about to drop will make your head spin.
This
do nothing
DNA
under-
test proves that I am Elena's father. I will fight for my
This
full
is my
custody
child,
rights.
and I will fight you for custody.
There's no way he is getting my daughter.
No, this is our child, not yours.
Mr. Forrest, you're convinced you're
Well, whether
Elena's
I am or he is.
I'm saying, are you convinced you're her biological father?
There's a possibility, yes, but I don't know for 100%.
And here's the big reveal.
It has been determined by this court that her biological father is Mr. Webb.
Guess what just popped up? Ms. Tucker spills the beans about a huge whoopsie from 10 years ago when she found out Mr. Hunter might actually be her real dad, not the guy she thought was. She's in court to figure out the truth, hoping to end the big question mark hanging over her head. Get ready, because the next part is a real doozy.
Miss Tucker, you believed another man was your dad until a bomb was dropped on you 10 years ago when your mother admitted that the defendant is your biological father. You opened your case to prove prove to Mr. Hunter that he is your dad.
Hold the phone. Mr. Hunter isn't so sure he's Ms. Tucker's dad and explains why he's been keeping his distance. He heard a different story from her mom way back when that made him think he wasn't the father. Stick around, it's about to get even juicier.
Mr. Hunter, you admit you have distanced yourself from the plaintiff because you have serious doubts you are her father. Ms. Tucker, you admit you initially lied to your daughter, but claim you and Mr. Hunter have always known that he is her father.
Talk about a wild ride. Ms. Tucker shares her bumpy journey trying to get Mr. Hunter to take a DNA test, which he skipped out on. Not knowing if he's her dad has been a real headache, and she's had enough. Watch out, because what comes next will make your jaw drop.
A few years, I have been trying to get Charles to do a DNA test with me twice. I scheduled a test, he didn't show up, and it's just a lot of confusion in my own mind, and it's very traumatic to me. I'm trying to figure out if he's my father or not to close this chapter in my life. So to find out that someone else could be my father, it's really had an effect on me.
You won't believe this. Ms. Tucker's mom finally comes clean about fibbing over who her real dad is, trying to keep her away from Mr. Hunter, who she thought was bad news. Her big reveal shows just how tangled this whole mess is. The surprises aren't stopping here. More shockers to come.
I told her that someone else was her father at the time in order to protect her. I felt like Mr. Hunter was not a good role model.
Someone else was her father. What, she had a better chance of having a father in her life? What was your reasoning?
No, Your Honor, that's not the reason why. I was dating this guy, but it was basically over.
Grab some tissues. Ms. Tucker tells a tearjerker about finding out the man she called dad might not be her bio dad after all. This bombshell dropped while she was still playing with dolls and has been bugging her ever since. The emotional roller coaster is just picking up speed, so stay tuned.
I was in the 5th grade and his sister had came and got me one weekend like she always did. They were on the phone and I was over listening to their conversation with her telling him that he needed to come around and he needed to meet me. She believed that I was his daughter, but I wanted to know, you know, where was he? Why was he not around? And that's when he told me that my mom was not being honest with me.
Get this, while hanging out, someone tells Ms. Tucker she looks just like her dad, but not the guy she thought. Her mom calls it nonsense, but the plot thick. There's more confusion around the corner, and it's a real head scratcher.
I was in the 7th grade, so I was at a store. There's a woman who knows them both. Told me, she said, you look just like your dad. And so I go, oh, you know my dad? And I said his name, and she goes, that's not your dad. And that's when she said Mr. Hunter's name, and that was the first I have ever heard of him. So I went home, and I did tell my mom what she said, but my mom just said she was lying.
Oh boy, here we go. Mr. Hunter talks about how he moved on with his life after Ms. Tucker's mom told him the baby wasn't his. He packed up and didn't look back for years until rumors brought him right back. The next bit is a real cliffhanger, so don't go anywhere.
She told me she was pregnant. She said the baby wasn't mine. I left and I got my life together. And I stayed gone for 15, 16 years. I came back to North Carolina hearing rumors that she was mine. So what am I supposed to do when someone tells me I'm not the father? I move on with my life.
Can you believe it? Mr. Hunter shows up at Ms. Tucker's school one day, hinting he might be her dad after all. This surprise visit stirs up a whole pot of mixed feelings and adds more mystery to the story. Buckle up, because the saga continues, and it's a wild one.
So, Mr. Hunter, did you show up at the school and tell Ms. Tucker I'm your father?
I vaguely remember that conversation when she was at that school, and it could have been like a jokingly type of thing when I said
No, you don't joke. Pull a child out of school
father.
and then tell him a joke that I think I'm your father. So that's not gonna fly with me. Come with some new testimony that makes sense.
Are you ready for this? The moment of truth arrives with the DNA results. And guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hunter, you are not the father.
All right, folks, buckle up. Mr. Brooks calls his ex, Miss Gooley, into paternity court to show the world he's the dad of her 18-year-old son, Mr. McDonald. He's totally sure he's the dad because he was there from the get-go. Get ready, because this ride just gets wilder.
Mr. Brooks, you've summoned your ex-girlfriend, Ms. Gooley, to paternity court to prove that you are the father of her 18-year-old son, Mr. McDonald. Ms. Gooley, you admit you cheated on Mr. Brooks all those years ago and are here today to Mr. Brooks that he is not the father of your son?
Yes, Your Honor.
Grab your popcorn. This part's a tearjerker. Mr. Brooks shares how he was there in the hospital, saw his baby come into the world, and knew right then he was the dad, and the baby calmed down hearing his voice. The feels are real, people. And oh boy, it's about to get even juicier.
Mr. Brooks, why do you believe Mr. McDonald is your son?
The day he was born, I took her to the hospital. I was there. I watched him cut her open. I watched him pull my baby out. I told the doctor and the nurse, give me my baby. And I said, E-man, this daddy. I'm here, baby. And he shot up. And that when I knew he was my son from day one.
Things are getting spicy. In the hot seat, Miss Gooley admits their love wasn't exclusive. Yikes. This throws a big ol' wrench into Mr. Brooks' story. But hang tight, the next part's a doozy.
How long was that relationship?
10 years.
Was it a committed relationship?
No, Your Honor.
During the pregnancy, did you ever tell Mr. Brooks that he may not be biological father?
No, Your Honor, I didn't.
You allowed him to believe that he was Mr. McDonald's biological father the entire pregnancy?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Oh snap, it gets better. Turns out, there was another dude hanging around Miss Gooley back in the day. And yup, they were more than just friends. This paternity puzzle just added another piece. Wait till you see what's up next.
He was just a friend, really. I mean, someone that was there for me when Mr. Brooks wasn't.
If you think he's your child's father, you obviously were having sexual relationship with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Without using any protection.
Yes, Your Honor.
When she told you she was pregnant, there was no doubt in your mind that you were the father?
No. One of the greatest days of my life when she told me she was pregnant. I just wanted to be a great father.
Get ready for a heart melter. Mr. Brooks has been holding onto photos of Mr. McDonald for years, believing deep down he's the dad. He's got the pics to prove his love. Miss Gooley's nowhere in them. Stick around. The emotional roller coaster ain't over.
And I got pictures. Been having these pictures with me for 17 years. She don't have none. Matter of fact, I got about 60 pictures, and she's not in none of them.
These are pictures you carried for 17 years,
yes,
believing that you are Mr. McDonald's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So at some point, you say he was taken away from you.
This part's a real tearjerker. Picture this. Cops show up to take the kiddo away, and Mr. Brooks remembers the day like it was yesterday. It's a tough scene, folks, but don't go anywhere. The twists keep coming.
I remember that day just good, January the 23rd. So she called me, told me, get the kids out the house. I said, for what? I said, they finna go to my cousin anyway. Police car pulled up and defact. They told me they come to get the kids.
They came and got the kids in the first place because Fred, Mr. Brooks, is the one that called defacts on me because he was...
That's my family.
He
I'm gonna break my own family up
take my
for.
kids away from me. That's why defacts was called.
Here's the big moment. Mr. McDonald himself gets on the stand. He's always thought Mr. Brooks was his dad because that's what everyone told him. The plot thickens. And guess what? There's a major reveal just around the corner.
Mr. Brooks states that he believes he's your biological father. Do you believe Mr. Brooks is your father?
Yes, ma'am. It was kind of nervous at the beginning, but as we sat down and talked during the visit, it kind of got okay, and then we just started talking ever since then.
And now, the moment of truth. The DNA results are in, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brooks, you are his father.
All right! Thank you.
Guess what just dropped? Mr. Devin Hines is totally gobsmacked when his dad, Mr. William Hines, spills the beans that he might not actually be his real dad. This bombshell shook Devin big time because he's always thought William was his pops. Keep your eyes peeled for what's next.
Mr. Hines, just 2 weeks ago, you were shocked when the defendant revealed to you that he is not your biological father. You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that he is, in fact, your father.
Yes, ma'am.
Hang on to your socks, because they're about to get knocked off. Devin steps up and asks the court for a DNA test to clear up this dad drama once and for all. He's dead set on proving whether William, who's way behind on $20,000 in child support, really is his biological father. There's more juicy stuff just around the corner.
Defendant, Mr. Hines, you say you are currently behind more than $20,000 in child support, but claim to have evidence to prove you've always known the truth, that you are not the plaintiff's biological father, and the results will confirm that today.
Oh snap. Did he really just say that? In a super tense courtroom moment, William starts doing impressions, hinting he's not sure if he's Devin's dad, which totally riles up everyone watching. This act cranks up the drama a notch, and boy, does it get wilder from here.
Well, as of 2 weeks ago, out of nowhere, he pops out, not even him. His girlfriend pops out and say, hey, won't you tell him about what his aunt said? Oh, she said you might not be mine.
You
Yes,
36
ma'am.
years
Yes,
old.
ma'am. Like, you know, so I kind of just blew it off, you know, like, okay, because this, and went on with it. It kind of just died off.
Get ready for a tearjerker moment. Devin talks about the first time in forever he saw his dad's face on a wanted poster for owing a whopping $24,000 in child support. Yep, that's the pic he remembers his dad by. But hold your horses, because it gets even crazier.
Since 1989. We out and about. She said, look, look at your father on the poster. I looks up. It's a wanted poster for child support for $24,000. That's the picture that I seen of my father. That's my first time. So I said, oh, that's him? Yeah, that's him. We took down the poster board.
Oh my God.
This the only picture I got of my father is him on $24,000.
Oh,
this is so
terrible.
crazy that
You're not gonna believe this heartwarmer. Into the show, Devin shares how he tried super hard for 6 years to build a real deal father-son bond with William after they linked up in Houston. Despite the giant question mark hanging over them about being related and all, they got pretty tight. But wait, there's a twist coming up.
So when you get to Houston, you reach out.
I reach
and
out.
for 6 years, you all began to form a real father-son relationship.
anything that you could say of a father and son, we was there. But this man, in my opinion, is weak.
But you say you knew all along. Is that correct?
Yes,
Why is it you kept that secret?
because when
he
his
got a
mother,
motive.
Things are heating up. The chat turns to how this whole paternity question is messing with William's wallet. Turns out child support cash is getting yanked right out of his social security checks, making his money troubles even worse. You won't want to miss what's up next.
This is your evidence where you say they're still taking money because of the arrears that you owe child support.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to understand your doubt. Did you sign the birth certificate when Devin was born?
yes, ma'am,
If you believe she was messing around, why would you sign his birth certificate?
because I thought he was my child.
At that time, you did.
Yes, ma'am.
So what caused you to doubt?
Somebody told me.
Who?
Her sister.
Buckle up for the big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hines, you are the father.
Dang, you didn't see it.
Get ready for this wild ride. Mr. Connor starts off by saying a quick fling turned into 15 whole years of forking over cash for child support and even landed him in jail, all for a kid he's pretty sure isn't even his. He's super eager to get today's test results to clear his name once and for all. Buckle up, because the Wallaces are about to throw a curveball.
Mr. Connor, you say a one-time fling with the defendant turned into more than 15 years of child support payments and even jail time for a child you have never believed is yours. You need today's results to prove you are not her child father.
Oh boy, here comes the drama. Ms. Wallace and her husband are here to throw the book at Mr. Connor, insisting he's totally the dad and better keep the checks coming after today's test proves it. Get your popcorn ready, because the sparks are about to fly.
Ms. Wallace, you and your husband claim the plaintiff knows he is your son's biological father and want him to pay what he owes when the results prove it today. Mr. Wallace, you say you trust your mother, but acknowledge Mr. Connor's recent actions have given you doubt.
You're not gonna believe this. Mr. Connor spills the beans on how much he struggled because of these child support payments. He's talking jail time, being broke, and a ton of headaches. This story is just heating up, and you won't believe what's coming next.
It's caused a lot of problems, financially especially. It's times when I can't afford things. I've even been to jail. 2005, November the 5th until January 2006. There was no home for me to go to. I lost that. I was 36 years old. I had to start all over. It's making my character look real bad, Your Honor.
Things are getting spicy. Ms. Wallace accuses Mr. Connor of playing house with her for a year, which he totally denies. They're both getting super heated, and it's like watching a tennis match with words. Hang on to your seat, because there's more juicy stuff ahead.
Your Honor, he just wants off child support. For one, it was more than just a one-night fling.
You know Jeffrey isn't my child, and I have you on Facebook.
Well,
Doesn't
we have.
need
I'm
child
42
something like
years
that all
old,
of
Your
these
Honor.
years.
I raised my 3 kids by myself. You not one time knew what I had to struggle and go through by myself.
All right.
Hold the phone. Mr. Connor claims their whole relationship was just a one-time deal that didn't even go all the way, which is a far cry from Ms. Wallace's story of a year-long romance. The plot thickens. Stick around. It's about to get even bumpier.
There wasn't a relationship. I met her through a family member. We came together one time, and up on penetration, she had a friend who told me, "Did you sleep with Wanda?" I said, "No, not really, sorta." Then I told her what happened. There was penetration. I told her the story, and then she said, "Well, I just wanted to tell you, she was pregnant already."
Whoa, plot twist. Ms. Wallace talks about how she found out she was pregnant and told Mr. Connor, who swears he never got the memo. The confusion is real. This tale is turning into a real head scratcher. And you'll want to hear what happens next.
And he did know how I found out that I was pregnant. I got sick. My mom taking me to my doctor's appointment, and that's when I found out I was 2 months pregnant. And I called you and I told you. Back then we had papers. Shut your lying butt up.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let
Back
me-
then we had papers.
You popped up with him
I
when he was
messaged him.
Mr. Connor, I'm going to give you a chance to respond.
Guess what? Mr. Connor thinks Ms. Wallace might have seen dollar signs because he was doing pretty well back then. He suggests maybe that's why she pinned the baby on him. The tea is piping hot, folks. Don't go anywhere. The courtroom is about to turn up the heat.
At the time, I was doing pretty good. So I had a little BMW. We were young. Couple of them. I was watching them. I say, all of a sudden, here come the child support. I think maybe she thought I had a little money as well.
I want to know when's the next time you saw.
I seen him when he was 5. He came to my mother's funeral, repast.
And you agree to that, Miss Wallace?
Yes, ma'am.
That happened.
And here's the big moment. Drum roll, please. They read out the DNA test results. And guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Connor, you are not the father.
I already knew it.
Buckle up, folks. At the start of the episode, Iris Moyet swings into court with a big claim against Mr. Lester, saying he's the daddy of her 3-month-old daughter, Nyla, and she wants some child support cash. Mr. Lester is all, no way, because they weren't exactly exclusive, and he thinks Iris might have other baby daddies. It's like a soap opera, and you just gotta see what happens next.
Ms. Moyet, you're here in court today to prove that Mr. Lester, a man who is 20 years older than you, is the father of your 3-month-old daughter, Nyla Moyet. Mr. Lester, you say that you and Ms. Moyet were never in a relationship and that she had multiple sex partners, her time of conception, so you are 100% certain that you are not the father of baby Nyla.
Here comes the money talk. Iris rolls out a list of baby expenses that add up to a whopping $109 for stuff like baby formula, diapers, and tiny clothes. Mr. Lester chimes in that he did buy a thing or two, but thinks Iris is exaggerating big time. Keep your eyes peeled. It gets juicier.
He's contributed to 3 cases of diapers and some sleepers that's for a boy. You knew I had a girl. Why are you coming in my house with boy clothes?
How much do you think he spent on your child thus far?
He spent maybe about $250 on Nyla so far.
Do you have any receipts?
No, I don't.
Without any receipts or proof of what you say you spend, I can only go off of what the evidence is that's presented.
I understand.
Oh boy, did Iris just drop a bombshell? She admits she was trying to get pregnant on purpose, picking days to visit Mr. Lester when she thought it would definitely happen. Mr. Lester is like, hold up, I didn't sign up for more kids, despite the risky business of their hookups. Gear up, the roller coaster's just getting started.
We still haven't done anything to prevent another one. He's actually
Yvonne,
even told me. I went to my
Yvonne,
6
we don't
week.
even have-
I went to my 6-week prenatal appointment and asked him, yes, they're gonna ask me, do I want birth control? Should I get on it? He told me no, because I'm gonna want another one soon.
Not only do we not have a sexual relationship now, we haven't since she told me she was pregnant.
Plot twist. Iris wants something serious, but Mr. Lester's just in it for the fun. They're totally on different pages about what they're doing together, which just adds more fuel to this fire. Don't touch that dial. It only gets wilder from here.
So when a woman says to you, I want to have your baby, and you say, no, I really don't want you to, and you're still having sex without protecting yourself, you're setting yourself up.
Only had sex with Iris 5 times.
That's a lie. You've never used
Your
a
Honor.
condom. Now, with the girls that he's cheating on me with.
Things are heating up. Mr. Lester's not buying the dad label just yet. He's got a whole PowerPoint showing why he thinks he's not the father, thanks to Iris's iffy stories and her mingling with other dudes. Strap in. The truth is about to drop.
Let me
Mr.
explain.
Lester and I have never had protected sex.
When Iris forced herself on me, did we not have protection? And when I
Whether
say
I forced myself on him or not, it was always unprotected.
And I just want to point out to you the percentages of older men having babies and how it declines.
Some more research. Mr. Lester, you're trying this case. You better go ahead.
Yeah. Time for a life lesson from Judge Lake. She's giving Iris a gentle nudge about choosing better partner, especially when kiddos are involved. This stuff's important, folks. It's about more than just the giggles. And guess what? The big reveal is just around the bend.
Do you hear what he's saying?
Yes, John.
I know when you say you had the love of an older man, it was filling a void you felt for not having the love of your father. You were saying that. But regardless of what this result is today, I don't want you running around behind him. Do you understand me?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're better than that, and you deserve more than that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Get ready for the bombshell.
It has been determined by this, Mr. Lester, you are Nyla's father.
Yes! Yes! Didn't I tell you?
Ma'am.
Didn't I tell you?
Every day of this week. So you're saying you said it out of spite?
I did, and it was wrong. To this day, I hate when women do that, especially when. Then why'd you do it?
And Miss Jones,
because it felt good.
Listen, you said it with the look on your face like it was the truth. I know, you know what? You're known to tell the truth,
and it did.
It did
She was trying to get the attention of other men.
How?
She was texting other men. She was going to see other men. She was using me, like.
Using you for what?
Using me for a place. I wouldn't
didn't
give you
need to
money,
live with
so
you. I was
went
living
to
with my
another ex-boyfriend
dad.
to get money.
Mr. Watson kicks things off with a bombshell. He's here to prove he's not the dad of a 4-year-old kiddo named Kevin. He's pretty sure one of the 2 other dudes Ms. Mahoney was hanging out with while he was away could be the father instead. Talk about starting with a bang.
Mr. Watson, you are in court to prove that you are not the biological father of the defendant, 4-year-old son, Kevin. You say that while you were away, Ms. Mahoney was having sexual relationship 2 different men, and either of them could be the father.
Whoa there, Ms. Mahoney isn't messing around. She's almost certain, like 99% sure that Mr. Watson is indeed the daddy. He's brushing off those cheating claims like it's nothing. Her confidence is through the roof.
You say you are 99.999% sure that Mr. Watson is the father and denies accusations of infidelity.
All right, folks, strap in because Mr. Watson just dropped a major truth bomb. The results of today's DNA test could either make or break their engagement. If the kid ain't his, he might be hitting the road for good.
You say today's results will determine the future of your relationship.
I've known her since we were kids. We need to get these results because, you know, we are engaged and I would like to marry her, and I really hope this is my son.
And you say the relationship's on the line, meaning if the results don't turn out the way you would like, the relationship, the marriage, everything?
It's out the window, Your Honor. It's over with.
Really?
Pay attention here, because things take a serious turn. Ms. Mahoney talks about how all this daddy drama is really messing with little Kevin's head. He feels rejected, and it's breaking her heart. Sad stuff, really.
And Kevin's 4, so he understands this rejection.
Yeah, it takes him really hard. He's sheltered now.
And so, Mr. Watson, you are rejecting the child?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm not the dad, that's why. When I was away, when I came back, she was cheating, and she has a bad reputation of being basically, as I'm gonna say it, the neighborhood hoe.
Oh boy, it's getting spicy. Mr. Watson accuses Ms. Mahoney of playing house with 2 other guys who were supposedly showering her with gifts, but she claps back, saying they were just helping her out because she was broke. A classic, he said. She said.
She had 2 men staying with her, and they were showering her with gifts and taking care of her. Now, me as a man personally, I'm not gonna do that for no woman.
Being a man, though, you should have left me.
I never left.
Miss Mahoney, did you have 2 men living with you?
Yes, ma'am.
You did?
I had no job. I had nothing to fend for myself. They were close family friends, and they just wanted to help me help them.
And now for some real tea, the judge digs into rumors about another guy claiming he's the real dad. The plot's so thick you could cut it with a knife. This whole father versus dad debate is getting real intense.
Mahoney, why would a guy say to you?
I believe he probably does love me, but I don't love him, and I needed help, and all he wanted was a room, and that's all.
But why would he say you were having sex with him if you weren't?
Because he knows that if he were to tell him that he's gonna walk out and he's gonna leave me, and that's what happened, and I don't want that, and I don't want anybody else with Kevin.
Just when you think it couldn't get any wilder, Mr. Watson admits to a little something with another woman, just so happens to be a key witness. Talk about stirring the pot.
Did you have sex with this friend, Mr.
Don't
Watson?
lie.
No, Your Honor, no, I did not.
Not sex. What did she do? Be honest, because this is our chance to clear our water and make our family either complete or separate.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman in any kind.
We've heard that before.
Right.
Was there sexual contact?
Yes, Your Honor.
So how can you not expect this woman?
Here it comes, the big reveal. Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Watson, you are the father.
See? I love you so much.
So, get this. Ms. Hanger claims Mr. Babbitt should cough up child support since there's already an order. She says he's dodging his dues for their daughter, Chloe. You won't believe this. Mr. Babbitt basically ghosted the court, got him named as the dad by default. He missed the memo, literally. What's he gonna say to that?
I'll give you a minute to get yourself together, because you're not gonna clown.
Ms. Hanger reminisces about their less dramatic days. Video games, music, and there's the roommate drama. Mr. Babbitt thinks Ms. Hanger was also playing house with their roommate. Drama alert! What will the lie detector say? The DNA results are in.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Royce Babbitt, you
Buckle up, folks. Miss Jones and Miss Hernandez storm into the courtroom, each gunning to prove that Mr. Trevino is the daddy-o of their kiddos. They're not pulling any punch, and you can feel the tension crackling. Just wait, the tea's about to spill.
Ms. Jones and Ms. Hernandez, you are each here today to prove to a man that he is the father of your children. Now that man, Mr. Trevino, is waiting outside the courtroom, will join us shortly. Now, Ms. Jones, you say Mr. Trevino is denying your child, and you say it has a lot to do with Ms. Hernandez.
You won't believe this next part. Miss Jones throws shade, accusing Mr. Trevino of dodging daddy duties, all thanks to Miss Hernandez's influence. In struts Mr. Trevino right into the lion's den, hoping to clear the air. Keep watching, it's just getting juicy.
He's denied her back and forth. He says, I'm not the father, I am the father.
I'm not denying, I'm simply requesting the truth. My family and I have done a lot.
Keyword, your family. You are the father. Remember that. You have not been there.
So you're saying I haven't helped you?
Ms. Jones, though, you're claiming he's denying paternity.
He has several times, back and forth.
And that's your fault.
Talk about a plot twist. In the heat of the moment, Miss Jones drops a bombshell, admitting she once told Mr. Trevino he wasn't the father during a spat. The courtroom erupts into chaos, with both parties letting loose, forcing the judge to step in and calm the storm. Hang tight, more fireworks are on the way.
So you're saying you said it out of spite?
I did, and it was wrong. To this day, I hate when women do that, especially when
then why'd you do it?
And Ms. Jones,
because it felt good.
Listen,
But
you said it with the look on your
good.
face like it was the truth. I know, you know what? You're known to tell the truth.
And it did.
It did crush you.
Let's get some order.
Oh boy, here we go again. The argument heats up as the ladies lay out Mr. Trevino's flaky father figure antics, questioning his commitment and consistency. The judge dives deep, trying to untangle this messy web, he said, she said. Stick around, the climax is up next.
Well, the truth is she admitted that when she said it, it felt great.
It felt good.
But she said it out of spite. But in your mind, your doubt centers around.
I don't care how mad you are. You don't tell a man that he is not the daddy.
And I agree.
All right.
But it felt good.
I bent over backwards and worked hard to provide.
Work hard.
What do you call it?
Your back is in perfect condition because you worked so hard. Work, right?
Things just got real. Judge Lake isn't having any of it and gives Miss Jones a reality check about her spiteful comments and their repercussions on Mr. Trevino's paternal instincts. This heart-to-heart is all about owning up and facing the music. Don't go anywhere. The truth bomb is about to drop.
Now, Ms. Jones, I have to say this to you. What you're not willing to do is accept the fact that your actions have a consequence. Now, when you get so angry at a man because he's not doing what you want him to do or what you need him to do, and you decide, I'm gonna hurt you, you then can't stand up here and act mad or be the victim because he then starts to act like the child isn't his.
Get ready for the big reveal. DNA test results are in, and guess what?
Mr. Trevino, you are her father.
Now, I need the help.
Buckle up, folks. This roller coaster is just getting started. At the beginning of the episode, the case of Lyde versus Ellis is introduced. Ms. Lyde claims that Mr. Ellis, the defendant, is her biological father, a claim he vehemently denies, attributing it to his certainty that Ms. Lyde's mother was unfaithful during their relationship. Strap in, because the drama's about to ramp up.
Ms. Lyde, you say that for 26 years you have known only one man, the defendant, Mr. Ellis, to be your biological father, and you're devastated that he is claiming you're not his.
Here comes the juicy bit. Mr. Ellis throws shade, doubting paternity because he's convinced Ms. Lyde's mom played the field. He spills the tea on their rocky romance, all soured by her alleged side dalliances. This guy's skepticism is off the charts. Just wait till you hear what's up next. Total soap opera vibes.
So you say that Ms. Lyde's mother was unfaithful during your 7-year relationship and that you are certain you are not Ms. Lyde's biological father. You are here to prove that in court and to clear your name.
Grab your tissues. It's sob story time. Ms. Lyde unpacks her suitcase of childhood woes, talking about growing up without Mr. Ellis and missing out on that daddy-daughter bond. It's got her all mixed up about who she really is. Oh boy, grab more popcorn because the plot's about to thicken.
I didn't really have a relationship with Mr. Ellis growing up. It was just me and my mom. I've been in and out of group homes, foster homes.
When you hear her talk about her life without you, the man she believes is her biological father, how does that make you feel?
I feel for her and all, but I'm not her father. Look bright as she is. I mean, I ain't no doctor or nothing, but I'm pretty sure two people this color ain't gonna make no baby this bright-skinned.
Wait, what? Plot twist alert. Mr. Ellis drops a bombshell about some old DNA supposedly proving he's not the daddy. But Ms. Lyde's heard a totally different version from her mom. Confusion is in the air, folks. Make sure you're sitting down for the incoming bombshell response.
When I was away, your mother sick child support on me. They did the DNA test. I gave her the papers. They garnished my check.
Mr. Ellis, explain that. You had a DNA test already.
Yes, when I was away, her mother called child support on me. They came and took the DNA test.
You got the results back? back?
I got the results back. It was 99.9 that I wasn't the father. I showed her the paperwork.
Can you feel the suspense building? Things get really tangled when Ms. Lyde's mom, Ms. steps in and contradicts everything Mr. Ellis just said, claiming the DNA test actually gave him a thumbs up as the dad. The tension is palpable. Eyes on the screen, because the courtroom is about to turn up the heat.
Was there a DNA test performed?
This DNA test got was from her, juvenile court, but they never showed to court.
So
juvenile.
the bottom line is a DNA test was performed, yes or no?
Yes.
What were the results?
They say in the court 99% yes.
That 99.9% that yes, he was Danielle's biological father.
Yes.
Did someone say drama? Emotions hit the roof as Ms. Lyde vents big time about being the tennis ball in her parents' messy game. She talks about how not having a dad messed with her head and love life. And folks, you'll need to see what's coming, because when they spill the DNA tea, jaws will drop.
I feel like, because me, I'm a mom, and I feel like if you are old enough to, like, what you guys went through was not my fault, and you guys should never have involved me in anything that you guys were going through. I would never put my kids through that. You guys should have settled this the right way, the appropriate way, not wait for it to see the outcome of it. This is the outcome of it.
You're right, and that's why for years.
And here's the big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Ellis, you are the father. Whoa!
I knew it, yes!
Boom!
Brace yourselves, folks. Ms. Bauman steps up to the plate and spills the beans about dragging her daughter Kalina to court, trying to fix the web of lies about who her real daddy is. She's shooting for the moon, hoping to prove that the late Mr. James Stewart is the real McCoy. Hang tight, because Kalina's about to drop her 2 cents.
You've dragged your daughter, Kalina, to court to save your relationship. You admit after years of deception and confusion, you now must prove to her that her actual biological father is Mr. James Stewart, who passed away 18 years ago.
Hold on to your popcorn. Ms. Kalina Booman throws a curveball, saying her mom's roller coaster of paternity fibs has thrown their relationship for a loop. She's not buying her mom's latest plot twist, that Mr. Stewart is her pops. Buckle up, because this ride's about to get bumpier.
Ms. Kalina Boom, you say your mother's paternity lies have jeopardized your relationship, and you don't believe her latest claim that Mr. Stewart is your father. Mr. Stewart, there's no way that your deceased father is Ms. Bowman's biological father, and want to clear his name in court today.
Here's where it gets juicy. Angela Booman dives deep into the messy ocean of their relationship, confessing her fibs about Kalina's dad have really muddied the waters. He's on a mission to scrub clean her past mistakes and mend fences. Watch out for what's next. It's a doozy.
Over the years, I have lied to my daughter. For the past 4 years, it's become very hard on our relationship. I used to be real close to her. Now it feels like literally tore it completely apart. I need to prove to her that her father is James Stewart. When I first met Mr. Stewart, I met him at a company that I worked with, and we started working, became friends and everything real close. We became sexual. It got to where I found out there was somebody else.
Can you feel the tension? Kalina lays it all out, talking about how tricky it is to vibe with her mom because of all the secrets and lies about who her dad really is. She's spinning in circles, trying to figure out what's what. The saga continues, and you'll want to see what's thrown into the mix next.
It's been hard because the simple fact, I don't know when she's lying or telling the truth anymore when it comes to my
And
life.
so she told you another man was your biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
So when did you find out that he was not?
I found out during the summer going into high school that he was not my father.
Grab your tissues. Kalina reminisces about the bombshell day she found out Mr. Watson wasn't her biological dad. Fact she uncovered by sneaking a peek at the paternity test results. Talk about a plot twist that could break your heart. Stay tuned, the truth unfolds even more in just a bit.
And I was confused because all these years you told me that Mr. Watson was my father. Then when we went to go take the test, when the test results finally came back after 2 weeks, I was nervous and didn't know what to think, and I read the results even though she told me not to. Why she lied to me for 16 years, I didn't know what to do, so I stopped talking to her for a month and a half.
Oh boy, here it comes. Angela drops a bombshell in the courtroom, admitting she made up a whole letter to keep Mr. Watson on the hook, thinking Kalina was his kid. Talk about a desperate move for love. The crowd's reaction to what happens next is priceless. You gotta see it.
I did it because I was actually in love with Mr. Watson, and it was, I wanted a child, this is my child. And I lost contact with Mr. Stewart, so I left it alone.
So you wanted him to think that Kalina was his child so that you could hold on to him. You cannot use a child to keep a man. It doesn't work. It never works.
No way, Jose. James Stewart steps into the spotlight, tossing cold water on the idea that there was ever a paternity test plan. He reminisces about his dad's upfront style and how growing up siblingless was a bummer, totally doubting Angela's sketchy tale. But wait, there's more. Stick around for the jaw-dropping reveal.
I was 13. My father told me everything. I ain't had a sibling 28 years. 29 years. My baby brother got killed when he was 2. So I would have wanted a sibling all my life. My father would have told me that.
He didn't want to bring her out until the test was completely
He wouldn't
done.
hide the hell nothing from me. My father told me everything. That's why I can't believe it, because there's so many women that done did this, said that their kids was mine, and I had to grow up without a sibling. That hurts.
Oh boy, here we go. The case of Chirpis versus McQueen kicks off with some serious accusations flying around. Ms. Chirpis claims Mr. McQueen ditched their 9-month-old daughter Aria and bailed out of. She's pretty convinced the DNA test will slap him with a big old dad label and force him to stop dodging his daddy duties. Let's see how he wiggles out of this one.
Ms. Chirpis, you claim you and your grandmother have been given no choice but to drag the defendant into court today because you say he moved away and abandoned your 9-month-old daughter, Aria. You believe the DNA results will prove that he is her biological father, and you demand he stops running from his responsibilities.
Wait for it. Mr. McQueen fires back. He claims Ms. Chirp's wandering eye for other dudes is why he hit the road. He's betting all his chips on the DNA test, showing that baby Aria's real pops is some other guy. Grab your popcorn, because this is just heating up.
Mr. McQueen, you claim that Ms. Chirpis' relationships with multiple other men is what drove you away, and you believe that today's results prove baby Aria's father is another man.
Get the tissues ready, folks. Ms. Chirpis lays it all out, telling us how Mr. McQueen's fatherly contributions have been, let's be honest, pretty pathetic. Like one measly box of diapers pathetic. She's all kinds of upset, thinking back to better days when he promised her the moon. Strap in, it's about to get bumpier.
He has bought her 1 box of diapers, like 2 things of wipes.
So she's 8 months old, 9 months old, pretty much nothing. And I can see that that really hurts you. You very angry about that?
Like he had promised.
And how was that?
Definitely not like this. I had moved out to go live with him, and we had actually planned on having her. Everything went downhill from there.
Here comes Mr. McQueen's side of the story. He admits, sure, he's brought over some diapers and wipes a couple of times. Basically, the bare minimum. Despite questioning Aria's paternity, he insists he's tried to step up in his own way. Next up, we dive deeper into the soap opera that is their relationship.
Have you done anything for this baby besides just these diapers?
The first day I met her, brought her diapers. Third time she let me see Aria, I also brought her diapers and wipes. The last time that I was trying to see her before I did leave the state of Michigan, I dropped off clothes and boxes of diapers and 3 packs of wipes to her grandmother.
And the plot thickens. We get a sneak peek into their rocky relationship, complete with cheating and trust issues. Mr. McQueen confesses to playing away, but suggests Ms. Chirpis might have been playing the field too. Oh boy, let's see how she handles that accusation.
I have doubts because I didn't have her full attention when we were together. She had more interested in getting other men's attention than mine.
So tell me, what was the nature of your relationship? Were you committed?
Yes, we were committed, yes.
You were boyfriend and girlfriend, Ms. Chirpis?
Yes.
Drama alert. Ms. Chirpis spills the beans on how she caught Mr. McQueen red-handed with another woman. She came home early one day to find a not-so-welcome guest. Talk about awkward. Wonder what's next in this wild ride.
Not necessarily set him up. I had told him I was going to my dad's for about 4 days. I had only went there for a few hours. And as soon as I pulled in the driveway, I just instantly knew. And he came to the window, looked out. I had told him to unlock my door. He had unlocked it, but stood in front of the door to where I couldn't open it all the way. And he's like, you're gonna be mad. And I played dumb.
So you opened the door and someone was there?
Yep.
Oh, it's getting juicy now. Both sides throw accusations faster than a speeding bullet. Mr. McQueen thinks Ms. Chirpis has been too friendly with other guys. She fires back about his shady move. And just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, enter Mr. Gerber.
That I didn't have her attention no more. She was trying to get the attention of other men.
How?
She was texting other men. She was going to see other men. She was using me, like...
Using you for what?
Using me for a place. I wouldn't give you money,
live with
so
you. I was
went
living
to
with my
another ex-boyfriend
dad.
to get money.
I could have stayed there.
To what? Put her in a worse one?
That was not the plan. It takes 2 to tango.
Hold the phone. Who's this now? Mr. Gerber steps into the courtroom, throwing another twist into the story. He admits to having a fling with Ms. Chirpis, but denies being baby Aria's dad. You won't believe what comes out next.
Did you have a sexual relationship with Ms. Chirpis?
At one point in time, yes.
And so, how did you all meet?
Online.
And it quickly developed into a sexual relationship, or?
She was a single parent. It was kind of just getting to know each other to begin with.
How often were you intimate?
Not very often at all.
Do you think there's a chance that you could be Aria's biological father?
I do not.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, DNA results. Drum roll, please.
The biological father is Mr. McQueen.
See?
Well, me and her mother got together. I was trying to get her sister, her mother's sister. That's how it really started out. When what had happened, her mother pushed up and said that I'm gonna make you my man because her sister wasn't that into me at that time. And we made plans to spend that weekend together.
Did you get 2 girls pregnant at the same time?
Yes, I did, Your Honor, but I didn't mean to.
You didn't mean to.
That's the only thing I can really say. But it happened. But at the same time, she did call me a clown. I won't respect your court, but she looking like one. Like for real.
But she met.
His mom came down for Christmases, birthdays, everything.
Gave us
and she
everything.
treated us like we was her grandkid. And it hurts me so much to hear this man sit here in this courtroom and lie to you like that. Honestly, spitting image, 100%. And you gonna sit up here and say that I'm not your son?
Ms. Robertson spills the tea about her wild ride starting at age 8 when she found out the dude she called dad wasn't her bio dad. Her mom pointed to Mr. McBain Sr., standing awkwardly as the defendant, and was like, yup, he's the one. Ms. Robertson, tired of the dad drama, hauled Mr. McBain to court to clear the air once and for all.
Ms. Robertson, your world was turned upside down at the age of 8 when you received the shocking news that the man you believed to be your biological father was not. You were informed that the defendant, Mr. McBain Sr., is your father. You've dragged him to court to prove that today.
Mr. McBain Sr. steps up, totally denying he's the father, thanks to a soap opera-worthy plot involving his military days and his then-wife's supposed side hustles. He's all, nope, not the daddy, with the confidence of someone who's watched one too many Maury episodes. He's convinced he's not the dad, because, plot twist, he has receipts, or so he claims.
You say during your military career you were married to the plaintiff's mother. However, you're certain that you are not her father because you claim her mother was unfaithful and you have proof.
Ms. Robertson throws back to a quirky childhood memory where her mom literally flipped open a phone book, pointed to Mr. McBain's name, declared, bingo, that's your dad. Little did she know, this random phone book moment would turn into a full-blown family mystery. At 8, she shrugged it off, but now she's like, wait a minute.
When I was 8 years old, my mother had sat me down. She had found Mr. McBain in the phone book, and she said, this is your biological father right here.
She pointed him out in the phone book?
Yes, Your Honor. From that point, I didn't really think anything of it. I was 8 years old. It was kind of like it was nothing.
Ms. Robertson is baffled why Mr. McBain's name is chilling on her birth certificate if he's so sure he isn't her dad. She's waving around proof like a detective, and even the judge is leaning in for a better look. There's a vibe in the air that something big's about to drop, and Ms. Robertson is all in for finding the truth.
If he's denying it, why is his name on my birth certificate? Why did he sign his rights away? I have proof right here.
I can see it's still affecting you, even as an adult woman. This
Yes,
memory
Your
of being told this at 8 years old and having so many unanswered questions.
Yes, my name may be on there, Your Honor. However, it's on there because the state put it on there. I had nothing to do with putting my name on her birth certificate.
Mr. McBain explains why his name ended up on the birth cert despite his protests. He was roped in by marriage laws, typical bureaucracy stuff. He also mentions letting another guy adopt Ms. Robertson because, well, drama. He's making it sound like he was just trying to do right by her, even though he's adamant about the not the dad bit.
Yeah.
So your name was automatically placed on the birth certificate as father. But even in that moment at the hospital,
I wasn't there.
you weren't there, but you would not have voluntarily placed your name on the birth certificate.
That's one of the reasons why I let Mr. Ayers go ahead and adopt her, because she did deserve to have a father. It's not her fault who her mother is.
Years later, Ms. Robertson had a super brief meetup with Mr. McBain, which ended with him ghosting her like a bad Tinder date. She recalls this moment with the kind of sadness that would win her an Oscar. Mr. McBain, on the other hand, acts like he's hearing this story for the first time.
I let it go until I turned right before my 13th birthday. And that's when I had told my mother that all I wanted for my 13th birthday was to meet Mr. McBain.
What did she say?
She got it for me.
I don't remember that at all.
Ms. Robertson, what do you remember?
It only lasted about 40 minutes. That was like more than anything in the world for me at that time.
In the middle of the courtroom, Mr. McBain throws down accusations like confetti at a parade, suggesting Ms. Graham, the mom, was playing the field while they were married. He's like a detective in a bad cop show, pointing out mismatched boots and coats as evidence of her infidelity. Ms. Graham's defense? A sassy. Those are your boots, buddy.
Was working 7 days a week for about 3 months straight. Went back home. As I'm walking across the living room, I look over and there's a pair of boots and a coat on the floor and a coat on.
Your Honor, those were his boots and his coat.
They were size 10, Your Your Honor. I wear size 12. I walked over to her room. I beat on the door. I said, I don't know who you are in there, but you've got 30 seconds to get out of my house or you're going to be really sorry.
Mr. McBain pulls out the wild card, suggesting another dude could be the dad. Because, get this, he was supposedly sterile at the time. He throws in some details about the other guy's heritage, gets a twist in a bad detective novel. The court can't help but chuckle at his attempt to connect the dots in such a bizarre way.
Excuse me, and who is that?
It was an individual I was stationed with.
Yeah, you were stationed with a lot.
I know, and
But
so were
did-
you. The Coast Guard telling me I was sterile. The fact that the man's Hawaiian, he's Samoan.
Your Honor, this girl is white as white could be.
You're saying the other guy is Samoan.
Yes.
Ms. Robertson shares her deep yearning to connect with her roots and possibly siblings, making everyone in the courtroom reach for the tissues. It's a touching moment where she's just looking for a bit of closure and a few answers about where she comes from. Despite the courtroom chaos, her quest for family ties is seriously heartwarming.
Even if your account is true, even if she was sleeping around, if she was your wife and you were also sleeping with her, couldn't you potentially be Ms. Robertson's biological father?
I don't feel that she looks like as much like me as she thinks she does. Also, due to the fact of what the Coast Guard told me, and due to the fact that Miss Graham is a cheater.
The moment of truth arrives.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. McBain Sr., you are not her father.
So, here we go. Talk about a wake-up call. Ms. Walker drops a bomb about how a brush with the beyond has her scrambling to find out who her daddy is. She spills the beans on why figuring this out has jumped to top of her to-do list. Next up, grab your popcorn, because you won't believe who steps up to the plate.
Ms. Walker, you claim that your near-death experience has made your desire to determine your biological father more important than ever. After believing one man was your father, you learned about another possibility, Bruce Simmons. But you say you must first prove to his doubtful wife that he is your father.
And here comes the party pooper. Mrs. Simmons is having none of it, totally trashing the idea that her hubby could be the father. She's all about Ms. Walker cutting her losses and checking out other prospects. Buckle up, as she's not done throwing shade just yet.
Simmons, you contend that there's absolutely no way your husband is Ms. Walker's biological father. You argue Ms. Walker needs to let go of this fantasy and move on to another candidate.
Oh boy, here comes the waterworks. Mrs. Simmons starts dishing out the backstory with her man, insisting he's as fertile as a desert. She's pretty much calling her husband a dud in the baby-making department. Wait till you hear what comes out of the woodwork next.
We just got married 2003. I have 2 biological kids. We never made any. I believe my husband is sterile. I believe he can't make no kids. If we've been together that long and we ain't make nothing together, what makes somebody just pop up and say, oh, you the...
And so the 2 children you have
are not his.
So you know you're capable of having children, but don't believe he is.
Yes.
Ms. Walker isn't just throwing darts blindfolded here. She's been detectiving around to pin down her bio dad, knocking on doors and shaking the family tree. She hits us with a twist about a medical emergency that's more gripping than a daytime soap. The saga continued, and you're gonna wanna stick around for this.
So Ms. Walker, so why do you believe he's your biological father?
Your Honor, I went on this search, and I didn't particularly just go out and just pick this random guy. In the beginning, I was also told that there was another man that was on my birth certificate, and I was told that was my father.
Cue the dramatic music. A heart-stopping medical scare has Ms. Walker chasing down her family tree for a blood match. Talk about intense. Doctors drop the bomb that the guy she thought was her dad isn't a match. Just when you think it's all figured out, another mystery guest comes knocking.
I excluded him because, as you know, I had a near-death experience. I was going for a congestive heart failure, and in order to have this lung biopsy, they said that I can reach out to my family, and boy, they went for donor blood. So I called my dad that I was told that was and asked him to go and asked his family all to go down, give blood so I wouldn't have to have donor blood.
Enter Mr. Simmons. And man, he have a story to tell. He's reminiscing about old flames, weekend flings, stirring up more dirt than a gossip magazine. Keep your ears open. The tea is piping hot and ready to spill.
When me and her mother got together, I was trying to get her sister, her mother's sister. That's how it really started out. When what had happened, her mother pushed up and said that I'm gonna make you my man, because her sister wasn't that into me at that time. And we made plans to spend that weekend together. So we spent that weekend together, and then after that, we lost touch with each other because she just turned around and she upped and left.
Things are heating up. Moment of truth time, and the judge is about to drop the mic.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Bruce Simmons, you are not her father.
Did you catch that? Straight into the deep end we go. Ms. McDuffie, you are here today to prove that your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Edwards, is the father of your 2-year-old daughter, Samia. You say you are tired of the defendant denying your child and evading his responsibility. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. Get ready. It's about to get even juicier.
Prove that your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Edwards, is the father of your 2-year-old daughter, Samia. You say you are tired of the defendant denying your child and evading. You have real reason to doubt you are the father of Miss McDuffie's daughter. Claim after several attempts at trying to obtain a DNA test, you know today's results will clear you of any responsibility.
Hold on to your popcorn. This part's a doozy. Your Honor, these results are important because I know Mr. Sammy is the father. He's a pop-in and pop-out dad. One minute he's claiming her, the next minute now she's not his daughter. And at this point, I just want my daughter to be taken care of and get the same love and support that I had growing up as a child as well. And I just feel like it's unfair for us to have to be here today. When I've allowed him opportunity, I've never denied him from his child. And I'm still getting a backlash as if this is not his daughter. Oh boy, keep your eyes peeled for the next scene.
I know Mr. Sammy Edwards is the father. He's a pop-in and pop-out dad. One minute he's claiming her, the next minute she's not his daughter. And at this point, I just want my daughter to be taken care of, get the same love and support that I had growing up as a child as well. And I just feel like it's unfair for us to have to be here today. I've allowed him opportunity. I've never denied him from his child. I'm still getting a backlash as if this is not his daughter.
Geez, didn't see that one coming. Thank you. I'll be honest, finally, about how I feel about the situation. She said I'm a pop-in and pop-out dad or whatever, just simply because she's a gorgeous little girl, I don't want to get too attached to her, get my family too attached to her, because I just don't know if she's mine or not. Strap in, backstory is a roller coaster.
Just simply because she's a gorgeous little girl, I don't want to get too attached to her or get my family too attached to her because, I just don't know if she's mine or not.
But you come see her all the time. Like, you're constantly there. You pop in, you pop out. One minute you calling her, that's good. Can I see my baby? Can I do this with my daughter?
Well,
and then now you're not.
Here's where it gets hilariously tangled. So, Mr. Edwards, can you take me to the day you met Ms. McDuffie? How did you all meet? I saw her she was a waitress behind a bar. You know what I'm saying? I really ain't, pay too much attention to her till she really, walk from across the bar, I saw them buns and I had to proceed, brace yourself. Their fling starts with a bang.
I saw her she was a waitress behind the bar, you know what I'm saying? I really ain't, pay too much attention to her till she really, walked across the bar. I saw them buns. I had to proceed, I proceeded to the buns, I got a number, and at first, we were texting for about a week.
This relationship kickoff is comedy gold. I called her, I came and picked her up, and, we got some good food, some good drinky drink, I guess I proceeded to those buns. The laughs don't stop here. Wait till you hear about the twist coming up.
I called her again, you know what I'm saying? So she obviously was out of the situation with him, I guess. And that's what it is, I called her, I came and picked her up. We got some good food, some good drinky drink. I guess I proceeded to those buns. Back to the bun.
Yeah, you might have proceeded to a bun in the oven, too.
Right.
Wait till you get a load of this next hiccup. Well, you were drinking that night. So then what? Do you all decide you're gonna date? Do you ever go on a date? Be in a relationship? Does this sexual relationship continue? Edwards. The plot thickens. And it's messier than a dropped pie.
So then what? Do you all decide you're gonna date? Do you ever go on a date? Be in a relationship? Does this sexual relationship continue?
I'm sorry. 2 weeks, like a week prior to, us having sex in the car, like the second date. She called me and said she was pregnant.
A week? 2 weeks?
It was a week.
No, it was not.
It was like a week.
Cue the circus music, because this just turned into a sideshow. Her ex and his whole family. What happened? Me up on social media. I'm talking about harassing the hell out of me. Talking about this is not your child. You're stupid. Why are you taking care of this child? Next up, the delivery room drama. Don't touch that dial.
Yeah, so you say her ex and his whole family?
Her ex and his whole family hit me up on social media. I'm talking about harassing the hell out of me, talking about this is not your child. You're stupid. Why are you taking care of this child? Or why you got her? Oh, not child, but why you got her?
How pregnant was Ms. McDuffie
like
at the
6
time?
or 7 months, you know what I'm saying, around that time.
He's lying.
Time for the baby grand entrance. Cue the spotlight. When Samia was born, who was there with you? Sammy was right there with me. me, holding one leg and the nurse on the other leg, and he played Erykah Badu when I pushed her out. So he was right there. He was right there. The final verdict is next. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.
Sammy was right there with me holding one leg and the nurse on the other leg, and he played Erykah Badu when I pushed her out. So he was right there.
I'm more spiritual. I see you had the beads on. I mean, they look like African beads. You know what I'm saying? I'm very spiritual. So I wanted half of me felt like he was mine. So I still wanted to really, like, at least beat her.
You think that was wild? Just wait for the bombshell.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Edward, you are the father.
Guess who just walked in? Yep, it's Judge Lake kicking things off. At the start, Judge Lake lays down the law in the courtroom. Ms. Haysbert is here throwing down the gauntlet against Mr. Howard, demanding a paternity test for little Ricardo Jr., who's just chilling at 6 months old, unaware of the drama. She claims Howard hasn't pitched in a dime or a diaper. Buckle up, folks. The tea is about to spill.
Ms. Haysbert, you are suing the father of your 6-month-old son for a paternity test. The defendant, Mr. Howard, has never financially supported baby Ricardo Jr.
Talk about a plot twist. Ms. Haysbert comes out swinging, accusing Mr. Howard of ditching her once the baby news hit after he had painted dreams of weddings and baby carriages. She drops another bomb. Howard's got another bun in the oven that's only 2 weeks older. Oh, and it's just getting juicy.
You also state that he once led you to believe that he wanted to marry you and even asked you to have his baby. But once you were actually pregnant, you say he abandoned you and has since fathered another baby who is only 2 weeks older than your child.
Hold on to your popcorn. Mr. Howard fires back, claiming he was duped into thinking he wasn't the daddy. And wait for it, he's also suing Ms. Haysbert for pawning Grandma's precious ring. The courtroom's heating up, and Howard's not playing around. You'll want to stick around for what's coming.
Mr. Howard, you argue that Ms. Haysbert told you that Ricardo Jr. was not your son and therefore is not your responsibility. You are countersuing for $1,000 in damages for a ring Ms. Howard pawned that was given to you by your late grandmother.
Now, let's take a stroll down memory lane. Ms. Haysbert reminisces about how she met Howard at a football game, and things got cozy from co-workers to more than friends. This backstory sets the stage for all the he said, she said that turned their world upside down. You won't believe what's next.
I met this clown at the Washington Redskins Stadium when we used to work together.
1 second, let's use respectful language.
We're co-workers, and then after that we became friends. Like, we used to chill with each other. After that, you know, we started having sex and we got drunk. So yeah, we got drunk and had sex, and that's how I conceived my son.
Got drunk and had sex?
After that, like, I knew he had a girlfriend, and you know, I didn't mind because we were just friends.
Ready for a roller coaster? Initially, Howard was over the moon about the baby news, according to Ms. Haysbert. But plot twist, he flips the script halfway through her pregnancy. The vibe shift, and not for the better. Brace yourself, the next part is a doozy.
Once I got pregnant, and I told him I was pregnant, he acted like he won the lottery. He was so excited. Oh, Junior, oh, I can't wait for you to have my son. He was so excited.
Where the money at? Where's the money at if I won the lottery?
As soon as my 5th or 6th month of pregnancy, he wanted to change up the table. He wasn't there. He didn't even come to the doctor's appointment.
At about 6 months.
She's alive.
Yes.
This segment is hotter than a summer BBQ. Ms. Haysbert throws shade, accusing Howard of double timing with another lady. Howard kinda, sorta, maybe admits it, but doesn't seem to think it's a biggie. The court's gasping, and you'll want to hear what's thrown next.
And that's when the girlfriend started calling my phone, telling me, oh, they're still together, that he never broke up with her, that he lied, basically, that she lived with him.
Can't believe that you're lying in court.
She asked me, when did we start dating? And we were pregnant around the same time. So she was asking, his daughter was born December 27th.
This is a good moment that I think I want to hear from Mr. Howard now.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
Grab your hats, we're diving deep. Howard confesses to unintentionally spreading his love a bit too thin, fathering kids with 2 different gals at the same time. The crowd's eating it up, and you can't make this stuff up. The drama's about to escalate, so don't touch that dial.
Did you get 2 girls pregnant at the same time?
Yes, I did, Your Honor, but I didn't mean to.
You didn't mean to.
That's the only thing I can really say. But it happened. But at the same time, she did call me a clown. I won't respect your court, but she looking like one. Like for real.
But she admitted that you slept with her, so it was obviously something about
you wanted this. So what are you saying?
I ain't put no gun in your hand.
Things are getting hotter than a telenovela in here. Emotions run high as Ms. Haysbert and Mr. Howard sling mud back and forth. Each claims the other is spinning a web of lies about their rocky romance and co-parenting chaos. Stay tuned because the evidence round is a real kicker.
She told you she was pregnant. You said, if it's mine, I'm gonna man up.
Yes.
But at some point, you said to yourself, this is important that I get a DNA test. You felt like this could potentially be someone else's child as well?
She was bouncing around.
I wasn't bouncing around. I was only with you. That's you. You were sleeping with me and Keanu at the same time. time. You had to lie and say that you weren't with her. Yes, you lied.
Why did I have to
You
lie?
told me that you weren't with her anymore.
Here comes Judge Lake with the hard-hitting facts. She pulls out the text messages that show Howard was all sweet on the baby, contradicting his courtroom coolness. The truth's out, and it's messier than a reality TV show. The grand finale is just around the corner.
Love you, babe. Kiss my son for me.
Kiss my son for me.
You're acknowledging him. How you going to deny him then acknowledge him? Thank you very much.
Okay, since we got so much about my son, since you trying to make it seem like I'm just a bad guy
why do I
and
have
all
to
this
catch the
stuff,
bus?
won't you
If
see?
you haven't, he was in the hospital.
Won't you see the text message that she wrote me said that my son was dead? What about that?
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. DNA results time.
Pertaining to 6-month-old London Howard. Mr. Howard, you are the father.
We know. Deborah, I don't sleep with everybody like Deborah do.
Judge Lake kicks things off by turning to Ms. Woods, who's there to drop a bomb. Mr. Volmar supposedly made her pregnant during their short fling, and now, guess what? He's playing the ghost game, acting like nothing happened. She's all in to prove he's the daddy and get him to pony up for child support.
Ms. Woods, you say you had a brief sexual relationship with Mr. Volmar, which resulted in him intentionally impregnating you. You say Mr. Volmar now refuses to take responsibility for his child, and you are here today to prove he is your baby's father.
Miss Woods spills the tea about their meet cute or meet crazy at a club while she was having issues with her baby daddy. She makes it sound like Mr. Volmar was practically love at first sight. They swapped digits, and the rest was history, including a nightclub romance and a whoops moment where she warned him she's super fertile, calling herself a fast breeder. The court cracks up at that one.
One night I went to the club and wound up running into Mr. Volmar. He actually walked up to me while I was having a drink. We exchanged numbers. I wound up leaving the club. He called me the following morning and asked me, can I come over to his house? I told him yes, but I had to make sure that, my baby father was leaving out for work that following morning.
Mr. Volmar gets his turn to be skeptical. Even though Ms. Woods hit him with the pregnancy news, he wasn't buying. It was his kid. Condom broke? Sure, but he recalls a few too many breakages to keep track.
So you admit you had a sexual relationship with Ms. Wood?
That's it.
You weren't in a committed relationship?
Never.
Once she told you she was pregnant, did you immediately think it was your child?
No.
You didn't. What were you thinking, sir?
I said, wow, congratulations.
Do you agree with her assertion that when
No.
you all had sex, the condom broke?
Condom broke. It was sex. It was fun.
And the condom broke?
Yeah.
Things heat up. Ms. Woods tries to set the record straight about who was doing what and when, which sounds like a daytime soap opera. She claims Mr. Volmar knew the score, but he's not having any of it, suggesting she was playing house with another man, too.
He automatically told me that he wasn't the father because I was staying with a man at the time.
You lived with him. You just
It
can't
does
visit
not
me.
matter. I was at your house every day, so how I had time to have sex with you and have sex with him?
In the bed with him. I mean, of course you're gonna have sex.
Ms.
That's your
Woods,
man.
if you were living with him...
I was in a relationship
But you
with
weren't
my
having-
other kid's father, but I was not having sex with him within that month I conceived.
Ms. Woods gives us the lowdown on why she strayed from her main squeeze to Mr. Volmar. It's all about the drama at home, folks. She was looking for a little fun, and Mr. Volmar was her escape hatch.
When I found out I was pregnant, I ain't have no choice but to tell him that he might be the father because I was staying with him at the time. So I'm stuck having a baby.
Are you?
Yeah, I had the baby.
By who?
By you.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
You told
I'm
old boy?
100% sure.
I don't even know his name. You
Look
told your
at that
boyfriend.
baby. That baby looks just like you. She don't look nothing like me.
Judge Lake isn't letting Ms. Woods off easy. She pushes her to admit she stirred up this whole storm herself, and guess what? Ms. Woods actually agrees. Yeah, she messed up big time.
I mean, you've probably been going through some problems.
Right,
And that's what couples do. I mean, there's that old saying that, the way that you get over one person is to get under another person. But that's not true, as you can see.
Right.
Are you still in a relationship with the other guy?
No, and the fact is, he's hurt over the situation, but at the end of the day, I can't blame him.
The room goes silent as the DNA results are about to drop like a hot new single.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Volmar, you are the father.
Thank you! Thank you! You're the father. Thank you!
Buckle up, folks. Here comes a wild one. Judge Lake kicks things off with the soap opera-worthy case of Heron, Medley, Johnson vs. Medley. We've got 3 grown-ups, 2 potential sons, and 1 maybe daughter, all here to find out if Mr. Medley Sr. is their dad. They're not just here for a casual family reunion. They're here to shake the family tree and see what falls out. Let's see how this courtroom hears more tear-jerking stories about their childhoods, filled with fleeting visits from a grandmother who tried to patch things up. This segment is like peeling an onion. Lots of layers, and it might make you cry. And guess what? The next bit promises promises even more jaw-dropping revelations.
In 2007, he was nowhere in our lives before then. His mom came down for Christmases,
Birthdays,
everything. Gave us
and she
everything.
treated us like we was her grandkid. You guys are always gonna be my grandkid. And that hurts me so much to hear this man sit here in this courtroom and lie to you like that. Honestly, spitting image, 100%. And you gonna sit up here and say that I'm not your son?
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, DNA results time. Judge Lake drops the bombshell. Mr. Medley Sr. is the biological father of the Medley brothers. The courtroom's buzzing, the brothers are buzzing, even the walls are probably buzzing. Just when you think you've seen it all, the plot thickens even more.
My grandma took me in, making sure so me and my brothers wouldn't get split up.
That's how they got divorced, was after that. After he got burnt, that's when they got divorced.
And I want that for you all. I have the results. In the case of Heron Medley v. Medley, it has been determined by this court, you are the father.
Switching gears to Ms. Johnson, who's been waiting so patiently she deserves a medal. She dives into her life story, which is just as tangled as you'd expect. She's looking for closure, hoping Mr. Medley Sr. might be her dad. As the tension builds, you'll want to lean in for this next part. It's a doozy.
I grew up in and out of foster care.
Hold the phone, folks.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Medley Sr., you are not her father.
Okay.
Who cares? This is just getting ridiculous. You all in this Facebook, and this instead of laying down in the bed with no protection, we wouldn't be here. But now, you all want to talk about Facebook all day.
This is a small town. Everybody knows who drives what. This particular person I know stayed with her a week.
Really? And you know who this guy is?
One of my cousins.
Oh, did your cousin tell you that he slept with her?
Yeah, we done gave each other daps and everything.
Oh boy, this one kicks off with a wild mystery. Ms. Smith is here because she's got no clue who the dad of her 4-month-old son is. It's either her ex or her fiance. Judge Lake's here to help, but you can bet this one's gonna get messy before it's clear.
Ms. Smith, you are here in court today because you claim a miscalculation during your pregnancy has left you unsure about the paternity of your 4-month-old son, Lamondre. Now today you hope to determine whether your ex-boyfriend, defendant Mr. Brooker, fathered your child.
Here's where the story takes a big twist. And now, nobody knows who the dad is, Mr. Brooker or the ex, and things are about to get even juicier.
When me and my ex-boyfriend ended up breaking up, I talked to Lamondre and I invited him to my birthday party a few days after we had sex. Once that happened, I was like really starting to like him and be interested, felt like sick, so I decided to take a pregnancy test.
Okay.
And so it came back positive.
Wait till you hear this. Mr. Brooker's already attached to the baby. Plus, he and Ms. Smith are engaged and planning a wedding, so he's in deep already. But the results of the DNA test could still flip his world.
Have you all started doing father and son things and beautiful, so you have a bond with this little boy?
Yes,
he
ma'am.
has your name. You all are engaged.
Yes, ma'am. We plan on getting married September.
If you thought one doctor's opinion was enough, think again. Ms. Smith saw 3 doctors, and each one told her something different. So, 3 doctors, 3 guesses, and a whole lot more questions. This mystery just keeps growing.
3 different doctors I went to, and they told me, well, yeah, you're about 8 or 9 weeks pregnant, and they did it by the chart. So that led back to that next week I went and I got a blood test done, and they said that just about the same thing, 8 or 9 weeks, and my due date.
And just when we think it can't get wilder, Miss Mster Indy Sam Sufrem says her baby arrived early, 2 whole months early. Things are so up in the air that they've called in a doctor for backup.
He was born premature. He was born 2 months early because I have an incompetent cervix, so that kind of prevents me from holding the child inside, so they have to do a surgery.
A month early based upon the first 2 appointments.
Exactly.
Enter Dr. Gator, a family medicine expert who's here to break down the madness. The audience feels some relief, but there's no official word yet, and this case isn't over.
It actually happens more often than you would think. Miss Smith's first visit, she basically was given a potential due date of April the 9th, her last menstrual period of July the 3rd. However, as she testified, so when you're basing it off that information, it can be very inaccurate.
Despite all the drama, Mr. Brooker steps up like a champ. But with the test results looming, everyone's on the edge, wondering if this love will hold up once the truth is revealed.
I had doubts, I did, but at the same time, like I told her, through the time we were together, I actually ended up falling in love with her. Regardless whether the result came out of the baby was to be mine or not, I was gonna be there. I even gave her my name.
Oh,
That's wonderful.
And here's where things go, from wild to just plain. Did he really do that? Mr. Brooker, itching to find out if he's the dad, takes an at-home DNA test on the baby when the kid is just 2 days old and still in the NICU. But hang tight, because the official DNA test is about to shake things up.
I took it there to the hospital.
So your cousin brought an at-home DNA test.
Yes, ma'am.
But the baby wasn't at home yet, right?
No,
He was still in the
He was still
hospital.
in the hospital. He was in the NIC. And I swabbed him like the first.
In the NIC unit?
Yes, ma'am.
This is the moment everyone's waiting for. Cue the suspense.
Mr. Brooker, you are not his father.
All right, this is one wild case full of jaw-dropping moments. This is just the start of a whole messy, emotional roller coaster, so get ready to be hooked.
Ms. Mitchell, you are here in the court today because you claim your childhood sweetheart stole your virginity, got you pregnant, and is now denying paternity of your 2-month-old daughter, Riley.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Mitchell doesn't hold back as she spills how it all went down, and it's a lot. The judge has questions, and Mr. Robinson fesses up to not using protection, which the judge calls a recipe for baby making. And if you think that's intense, wait until you hear what Mr. Robinson has to say next.
We hooked up, had sex, I lost my virginity, and I found out I was pregnant 3 weeks later.
No, Your Honor. We hooked up.
That's about all you need is one
that's
time.
about-
One time? Did you use protection?
No.
That's a recipe for,
Disaster.
well, no, for baby making.
Mr. Robinson cranks up the drama, saying he has doubts about being the dad because he got some juicy gossip. The judge tries to make sense of it, pointing out that all these doubts started because of Facebook gossip. Who knew that social media would cause this much trouble?
You start getting messages from the peanut gallery.
From her best friend, Your Honor.
Telling you they just want to give you the heads up that she was sleeping with other people.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that you don't think you're necessarily the only potential candidate.
If this wasn't already a soap opera, it takes a wild twist here. With everyone bickering over timelines and alibis, the tension is skyrocketing, and things are only going to heat up more.
Is Mr. Robinson with you?
No, but his sister.
Because I had got arrested the night of, I'm not going to lie, I'll be 100% honest with you, Your Honor. So I said, Erica, I said, will you do me a favor? She said, what, bub? I said, will you make sure you go to the hospital for me?
And so she went.
Yeah,
And
when she
went.
came up, she said that she tried to get Ryan to come, but
If you thought things couldn't get more ridiculous, the whole room starts arguing over, you guessed it, Facebook drama. The judge's frustration is real, and the drama is still spiraling.
Who cares? This is just getting ridiculous. You all in this Facebook, and this instead of laying down in the bed with no protection, we wouldn't be here. But now, you all want to talk about Facebook all day. You all to understand that beautiful little girl is what matters.
This is a beautiful baby, and it is about her, and that is why we're here today.
This is where things get weirdly emotional, with Mr. Robinson pouring his heart out about wanting to be Ryland's dad. Now the judge wants to see if there's any family resemblance, and you can feel the tension in the air.
And pray to God on everything that I love. I have not known my father for 20 years. I don't want Ryland to grow up like that. If she is mine, by all means, I want to give her everything.
He won't let us.
She
She's
will not let me.
drama.
The
They
only
haven't
way
tried.
he told me that I could see Ryland is
As
if
if
I
he
came
left
by
me.
myself.
Mr. Robinson isn't letting this go and claims that he and Ryland don't look alike. He even brought photos to prove it. The judge is now ready to move on to the money talk, and things get tense as childcare expenses are brought up.
Now this picture
is of me and our 3 kids, which 2 of them are biologically not mine. Look at me, and they call me father. I am a good father.
He is a good father. Not just the one that's his, but all 3 of them he's been there for.
Hold on.
And here comes the money talk, where Ms. Mitchell is asking for help with all the baby expenses. Mr. Robinson says he's ready to provide, but now it's finally time for the DNA results.
You would indeed owe her half of those child care expenses,
Yes.
but I cannot rule on that claim until we know the results.
Ryland, anything.
Good, that's what I wanted to hear you. She is your biological child. You are responsible.
The moment we've all been waiting for, DNA results.
Mr. Robinson, you are the father.
Okay, get ready because this story is already wild from the start. Judge Lake is trying to sort this all out, but honestly, it sounds like the beginning of a soap opera. And believe it or not, things are about to get even messier.
Ms. Johnson, you claim you have no doubts whatsoever that Mr. Lewis is the father of your 6-month-old daughter, Josiah. You say the only reason he doubts paternity is because he heard false rumors.
If you thought things couldn't get crazier, here's where it all speeds up. Mr. Lewis can't help but wonder about the timing. And let's be real, it does sound sound like the timeline needs its own detective. And believe me, this story's just getting juicier.
Well, it all started, me and Mr. Lewis was friends back in middle school, and then we stopped talking for a while, and then we met up again through Facebook. I had broke up with my ex, and then me and Mr. Lewis started dating in March 2013, and I found out that I was pregnant in April. That's how the whole story went.
Mr. Lewis's reaction is a serious mix of shock, excitement, and maybe a little freak out. Just when everyone starts settling into the idea, a huge wrench gets thrown into the mix from the family.
When she first told me, I was excited. I actually broke down crying to my mom because I ain't know how to be, because I ain't have my dad, and I ain't want no kid growing up like I did.
When you got this news, your son says he burst out crying and told his mother. How did you feel?
Well, I first found out through Miss Johnson. That's how I first found out that she was pregnant.
So you found out from Miss Johnson?
Yeah.
If you thought family gatherings were tough, wait until you hear this. So naturally, Ms. Lewis's trust is fading. And at this point, it's basically a game of who's the daddy. The whole thing has everyone's head spinning, and it's only getting wilder from here.
When did the doubt come in?
The doubt came in when I spoke with one of Ms. Johnson's family members. That's when the doubt came in.
From her family member?
She had told me that my son could be the father, and she also said there could be others that could be the father.
Others, plural?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson decided not to tell Mr. Lewis when she had the baby. Her reason? She felt like he didn't trust her anyway, so why bother? Ms. Johnson stands by her choice, but you can tell everyone in the courtroom is on edge, waiting to see where this will go next.
After she had the baby, he found out through the relative that she had the baby. She had already had the baby maybe 3 days when we found out.
Why is it you didn't tell him when the baby was coming?
Because he was believing everybody else that the baby wasn't his, so I told him that it wasn't his.
This is where things spill over onto social media, because of course, this internet drama is just adding fuel to the fire. And honestly, if social media wasn't messy enough already, this just took it to a whole new level.
I made a status on a social network. The ex contacted me. It was something like in reference of my son, finding out that he's a father, to now finding out that he may not father, it could be somebody else's. So the ex saw my status and sent me a message. Come to find out, I know the ex because he's a friend of my godson's.
And now the ex is in the mix, claiming he's actually the dad. Things are spinning out of control. If you think this sounds confusing, just wait. It's about to get even more unbelievable.
Miss Johnson, did you tell your ex that
One of my relatives told my ex that he was the father.
Your relatives, but you never personally?
I always told Mr. Lewis that he was.
But did you tell your ex that he was as well?
No, I didn't.
They were living together as of a couple of months ago.
Mr. Lewis was secretly listening to a phone call between Ms. Johnson and her ex, and he heard some shocking stuff. Just when you thought you'd heard it all, there's another layer to this chaotic story.
One day, I think it was in March, we had a three-way conversation. She didn't know I was on the phone, and I actually heard her. He asked her who the father between me and Derek, and I heard her say, I don't know.
You were on the phone?
Yes, she had me on mute.
You're just listening in, and Miss Johnson didn't know you were on the phone?
Yes.
And the ex was on the phone?
Yes.
So this is a three-way call?
Yes.
Judge Lake is digging in now. Like, okay, so do you actually know who the father is? Ms. Johnson looks at her, saying Josiah looks like Mr. Lewis. But when Judge Lake asks her to think about dates and timelines, Ms. Johnson starts to seem unsure. It's a game of could it be? Everyone holding their breath.
Is it a possibility that either man could be her father?
Well, the possibility is Mr. Lewis. He could be the father.
So, I have to understand, why would this ex-boyfriend, even if your family told him something, Lewis is the father of this child, it is not your child, why would he take it upon himself?
Finally, the big moment we've all been waiting for. The DNA results are here.
Pertaining to 6-month-old Josiah Johnson. Mr. Lewis, you are Josiah's father.
This whole case kicks off with some serious drama. It's like a soap opera that you can't look away from. The big question, who's the dad of her baby, Michaela? Things are just heating up, so keep watching.
Ms. Whitman, the man you claim you love is standing in our courtroom hallway, but you confess you cheated on him with the defendant.
That's right, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Anderson. So today you're here to determine the paternity of your 1-month-old daughter, Michaela, in hope of saving your relationship.
This relationship story is a little bananas. It's sounds like something straight out of a TV show. She swears it wasn't serious. But honestly, it sounds like a total mess. You won't believe what she says next.
Well, me and Miss Mitchell met at a bus station when I was coming from Chicago to Arkansas. We kind of like kicked it off quick and became girlfriend and boyfriend. And 2 months into relationship, I met Mr. Anderson. And we were pretty much like friends. And because I thought Mr. Mitchell was cheating, I kind of went to him and we were texting.
Here's where Mr. Anderson drops a bombshell that gets everyone in the room gasping. Ms. Whitman totally denies it, saying he just bought her a bed and visited. If you think that's wild, just wait. This is only the beginning.
This is a small town. Everybody knows who drives what. This particular person I know stayed with her a week.
Really? And you know who this guy is?
One of my cousins.
Oh, did your cousin tell you that he slept with her?
Yeah, we done gave each other daps and everything.
Announcing a pregnancy on Facebook? Yep, that's what happened, and it's as chaotic as it sounds. As if the drama wasn't enough, you can practically see the tension rising.
Well, actually, Facebook, my baby mama, she didn't even call.
I sent you the picture of the pregnancy test.
And you sent it to Mr. Anderson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you send it to anybody else?
I sent it to Mitch too through Facebook.
Mr. Maps?
Yes, Mr. Maps.
Was he excited about the pregnancy?
Yes, he was very excited. And then like maybe 2 weeks later, I told him there could be someone else.
This part is both sad and awkward. Honestly, it's tough to watch. Even Mr. Anderson blocked her on social media. It's messy, and you can feel the frustration building as the story unravels.
He even stopped talking to me, and I couldn't get a hold of Mr. Anderson because he blocked all communications, Facebook, and he stopped answering the phone for me, Mr. Maps.
The reason I blocked her off because of the stuff she was doing on Facebook.
I've never put on Facebook that you're my baby daddy.
Asked me, even my baby mama, my girl I'm with. I ain't with her now because that's destroyed.
Just when you think this situation couldn't get weirder, they start arguing about who should pay for the DNA test. It's a hilarious yet tense argument, and you can tell no one is thrilled about shelling out cash. Hold tight, things only get crazier from here.
He wanted me to pay half of the DNA test. Mr. Mapson also wanted me to pay half. I wasn't finna pay half for both people.
Wait a minute. She done gone half on the baby and won't go half on the DNA test. Now that doesn't make no sense.
Yeah.
Your daughter, Michaela, has a right to know. Now that Michaela is here, has anyone bonded with her? Either of you two gentlemen? You have, Mr. Mapson.
Things go from crazy to heartbreaking when Mr. Anderson breaks down in court, letting everyone know how much this situation has messed with his life. It's a sad moment, but don't get too comfortable. More twists are on the way.
Feel emotional right now, Mr. Anderson. What do you feel?
I've been through so much. Y'all don't know what I went through before I got here.
What are you feeling now?
I'm feeling pain.
Because this situation really bothers you.
This situation has affected my life, you know. My baby mama texting all the time talking about this situation. Well, getting to it, she called police on me. I had to get my stuff, get out.
And now, folks, the truth finally starts to come out, and it's juicier than ever. Judge Lake is clearly not buying it, and the tension ramps up as we get closer to the DNA results. This courtroom just keeps getting hotter.
Is there any chance that neither one of these gentlemen is the father of your child?
No, Your Honor. There's no chance that anybody else could be the father.
So you are positive?
Yes, Your Honor.
That there is absolutely no other possibility, no other man besides these two could be the father of your child?
That's right, Your Honor.
All right, here comes the moment of truth, the part everyone's been waiting for.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Anderson, you are not her father.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I knew it. I knew it.
Wow, talk about starting off with a bang. The judge gets right into the case, saying Miss Adams is here because her son might actually go to jail over unpaid child support. And we're just getting started with all the drama.
Now, your son, Mr. Adams, is joining us via satellite from Flint, Michigan. You claim he's on the verge of being arrested for back child support, and you're both with us today to prove he's not the father of the defendant's 3-year-old son in an effort to keep him out of jail.
Miss Williams wastes no time stirring the pot, claiming Mr. Adams is definitely her kid's father and saying he's in trouble because he didn't step up to be a dad. This courtroom showdown is about to hit new levels of tension.
Ms. Williams, you say Mr. Adams is indeed your baby's biological father, and you argue his legal issues are his own fault because he never stepped up for his son.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Adams drops a bombshell of his own, saying there was never any real relationship with Miss Williams, just some casual fun. It's safe to say he's not about to admit to anything serious, but Miss Williams might have more to say.
No, I really wouldn't call it no relationship. You know, I met her at a house party. She tried to have sex with me on the first date, so that was a judge of character right there.
But you weren't in a committed relationship.
Miss Williams really shocks the court when she casually admits she was with other guys around the time her kid was conceived. Things are getting juicy, and everyone's waiting to hear about this DNA test they keep bringing up.
I mean, no, when we was young at the time, we hooked on and off, and you know, it just.
So it was just an on and off thing.
Yeah, it was just
committed. During that time, were you also sleeping with other men as well?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Without using protection?
Yes.
Miss Williams gets emotional, defending her decisions, and saying she really did think her ex was the dad at first. It's clear this situation is getting more intense, and the money issues are far from over.
I wasn't 9 months pregnant. I was still in the middle of pregnancy, and that's when I told you when I was with my ex, and I thought at the time, because I was still messing with my ex, that's what the agreement was between me and my ex at the time.
But you understand why this could then make her doubtful?
Yes, I do.
The plot thickens when Mr. Adams explains that he started receiving bills for child support out of the blue. With every twist, it feels like the court's patience and Mr. Adams's wallet is running thin.
At the beginning of this year, I started receiving paperwork telling me that I had to make payments of $99 per month for a child that I haven't even been tested for yet.
Never appeared and she left
I'm not about
town.
to keep going through this with you. I told you
I have papers right here, Your Honor.
Things get pretty wild here as Mr. Adams reveals he ended up in jail over this whole child support fiasco. This is one tangled up case, and the emotions are about to run even higher.
Police just ran our names, so I gave them my name proud, like, you know, I'm Lassiter Adams. You know, I ain't think I had no warrant. Come to find out, he come back to me like, oh, Mr. Adams, you got a warrant for child support. I'm like, what?
And how much time did you serve for this?
Like 10 days.
Mr. Adams isn't holding back, saying he feels no connection to the child everyone's claiming might be his. But the judge has a serious message coming his way, and Mr. Adams better be ready.
Baby John, do you see yourself?
I mean, honestly, no, Your Honor, because, you know, I spent time around this child. If he was really my son, you know, I think we had that bond, that connection.
You felt nothing?
Honestly, no.
The judge drops a heavy dose of reality on Mr. Adams, warning him that ignoring court orders isn't a game and could land him back in jail. And now, after all this chaos, the moment of truth with the DNA results is here.
What I want you to learn from this lesson is, when the court calls, you got to answer. Because of your irresponsibility, you've created a situation where you might go to jail if this child turns out to be yours.
All eyes are on the judge as she reads the DNA results, and the courtroom holds its breath.
It has been determined that Mr. Adams is not the father.
Take me off child support, baby.
Wow, this is going to be a wild ride from the start. You can already feel the tension in the air, and it's only just begun.
Mr. Patrick, you say 5 years ago you made a huge mistake by opening your doors to a stranger who needed a place to stay because that man betrayed you and slept with your girlfriend, Ms. Pence.
Things get crazier when Mr. Patrick shares the story of the night Ms. Pence vanished. The audience is in shock, and Mr. Patrick's suspicions are sky high. But this story's far from over.
You know, time goes on. Me and her sat around and had a few drinks, sitting at home enjoying ourselves, and she up and leaves and goes across the street to the neighbor. 10:30 runs around, no Miss Pence. 2, 3 o'clock comes around, still no Miss Pence. Well, she doesn't show up until the next day, about 10:30 in the morning.
Really?
And her hair's a wreck. She looked like she went through a hurricane or something.
Miss Pence, you got missing overnight?
I did, Your Honor.
And here comes the confession. Ms. Pence says she slept with the guy, but hey, it was just a one-time thing. Mr. Patrick's trust is hanging by a thread, and we all know things are about to heat up even more.
I had told him that I had slept with the gentleman that had been staying with us. It was just the one time. It never happened again after that. He still seems to believe that it happened more than the one time, Your Honor.
So you hadn't slept with him when he was living there?
No, Your Honor.
If you thought it couldn't get weirder, here comes Ms. Pence's reason for cheating. She says it's because Mr. Patrick kept accusing her of it. It's a classic case of if you keep saying it, I'll just go do it, and we're all left wondering what happens next.
Larry had continuously, from day one, accused me of cheating constantly.
Mr. Patrick.
I had never slept with anyone else before that night. I had constantly, that's how I was brought up. I'm constantly calling people honey and babe.
That's just,
I'm from the South. That's how I was raised. It has nothing to do with that. I never slept with anyone before that.
Things get extra dramatic dramatic when Ms. Pence pulls out a calendar to prove Mr. Patrick is the dad. But hey, if there's a 5-day question mark, there's definitely more drama coming.
On November 2nd, Your Honor, is the date that me and Mr. Patrick had sex. And then on August 7th is the date that the twins were born. The doctor had said that the twins were conceived right around the 2nd of November, Your Honor.
Do you agree with those dates? They seem to add up.
No, Your Honor, I don't. I mean, it's a 5-day window between there.
Hold up. Now, Mr. Patrick's bringing up possible ADHD in his son as proof he's not the dad. Mr. Patrick's still not totally buying it, and we're all waiting to see what he'll say next.
What are those doubts?
I think he's ADHD or something like that. You know what I mean? He doesn't listen. He's rambunctious.
He's a little boy.
I understand
Mr.
he's a little boy, and I hope he grows out of it someday. But I believe he's ADHD or
There's
something.
nothing wrong with it.
And so doesn't run in my family.
How do you know that?
For 10 years, honey.
It doesn't matter. You don't know everything, every single thing about your family history.
Here's where the relationship goes full soap opera. With all this tension, the only thing that might help is the lie detector test. Yep, you read that right.
And so that's why, Mr. Patrick, you asked this court for a lie detector test, because you don't believe Ms. Pence is being truthful with you. Why do you believe she wouldn't tell you the whole truth since she was so forthright?
I have no reason to hide anything
I just
at all,
feel
Mr.
like she's
Patrick.
hiding more than what
There's
she's saying.
There's nothing to hide.
And just like
Have
I've told her,
nothing.
if it comes to the fact that the kids aren't mine, 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to leave.
The lie detector test results come in, and oh boy, they're a bombshell. Now all eyes are on the paternity results, but the drama's already through the roof.
During the last 10 years of your relationship with Mr. Patrick, have you had sexual contact with any other man whom you admitted to cheating with? You said no. The lie detector determined you were being deceptive.
How is that?
Finally, the big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Patrick, you are the father.
I told you that you was the father. I told you.
She lives with me in my home.
She lives with you now? Whoa!
Temporarily.
Because by God's law.
It don't have nothing to do with that.
My son loved her and that baby. And if there was anything in this world that I could do.
Like I said, I do not just say this is my nephew. If you go on my Facebook, his pictures are everywhere. That's not it. I'm not just saying that this is not my brother's baby. I want to make sure. You see how my aunt is looking? How she is crying? My whole family is like this. Because if I have doubts and that is my brother, baby, I still want to be there.
Okay, buckle up, because this is one wild start. She's got major doubts about this whole thing and is ready to clear her son's name. You won't believe the twists that are coming.
Ms. Beversdorf, you have opened your case against Mrs. James to prove that her deceased son, Daryl, is the biological father of your 4-year-old son, Dakari. You say that once you prove paternity, Mrs. James better accept you both or she will never see Dakari again.
This part is heavy, but you gotta hear it. Ms. Beversdorf's really feeling the sting of rejection, and she says it's hurting both her and her son. Next up, Mrs. James drops her side of the story, and it's, let's just say, intense.
It's the whole denial thing that's affecting my child and me. They don't accept him, they don't accept me. I'm just ready for him to have acceptance, love. I want it to be real, not fake. And I just know once I get these test results and everybody will really know the truth. I want him to know and to really have that is his father. I'd never want him to doubt that.
Oh boy, here we go. Mrs. James brings up some major suspicions and is not holding back. Ms. Beversdorf is like, no way, I was faithful. But Mrs. James isn't buying it, and you'll want to hear her next accusation.
You say the doubts were brought because of Ms. Beversdorf?
Because of the relationship that they beheld in the time that he was with her. They always fighting, her seeing other people in between the breakup.
Nobody has proof of that though. I've never been seen with anybody else.
But when you were living in the house,
anything.
You're gone 2 weeks.
Just when you thought it couldn't get messier, Mrs. James throws in another bombshell. But Ms. Beversdorf is holding her ground, swearing she knows exactly who the dad is. You'd think that'd be enough, but oh no, there's more coming.
And I'm like, where's Kayla?
No, I was gone 2 weeks.
Where?
My
With someone
sister,
else?
at my sister's house.
And when my
Wasn't with
son came
anybody
to
else.
your house, she came outside to talk to him, but she wouldn't let him in the house, and she made him leave. That was my...
Do you remember that incident, Ms.
No.
Beversdorf?
I know who my baby dad is.
How long were you together, you and Mr. Stevenson?
4.5 years.
Now, here's where things get really awkward. Still, Mrs. James is far from convinced, and her next point is even spicier.
The next week she came back, Your Honor, and now they're telling me that she was pregnant. And you want me to say, well, okay?
I was already pregnant when me and him split up for the 2 weeks.
But I mean, respectfully, how does Ms. James know that?
You and him then had a fight. She leaves for a couple of weeks, come back. Next thing I know, her and my son sitting in my kitchen telling me she's pregnant. And I'm looking like, by who?
The drama keeps climbing as the judge asks why Daryl didn't sign the birth certificate. Things are getting tense, and Mrs. James is about to turn it up even more.
Did he sign the birth certificate?
No. When the nurse came into the hospital room, he was at home taking a shower, getting clothes. He only left the hospital for maybe 2.5 hours.
For the 2.5 hours he left was the one time came in with the birth certificate for him to execute?
Yes.
Mrs. James isn't done yet, and now she's accusing Ms. Beversdorf of ducking out of DNA tests. Mrs. James talks about trying to get a test done after Daryl, but Mrs. James swears she tried, and this whole scene is just one back and forth battle of who said what.
Now, I have tried to get DNA 3 times.
She never tried 3 times.
Yes, I have, Your Honor.
Get no DNA
because she
test.
never shows up.
She never
What
met
happened?
me nowhere.
I didn't have to meet you nowhere.
She
I
never
told you
called,
where the
she never
place
said
was.
anything.
Miss James, take me through each time. You say 3 times.
Yes, Your Honor.
Things are about to get even messier as Mrs. James remembers a second DNA test attempt that ended in chaos. Ms. Beversdorf cuts in, claiming she didn't know anything about this plan. Mrs. James is relentless, setting the stage for even more accusations ahead.
Tell me about the second time you requested a DNA test.
She never requested it a second time.
On a Monday, over the weekend or whatever, this particular second time, I asked her, hey, let's go to legal aid, help us, somebody to get us DNA so we can get the Social Security started. We're supposed to do the test like Tuesday or Wednesday. I didn't see her till Friday.
Ms. Beversdorf is getting fired up now, saying she's absolutely sure Daryl is Dakari's dad, and she's fed up with Mrs. James doubting it. But just when it feels like they're going in circles, here comes a jaw-dropping new reveal.
And so you have no doubt in your mind Mr. Stevens is Dakari's biological father.
Well, I do.
Not one doubt. Well, that's why we're here, because she does.
We surely are.
We didn't get to the third time.
And
When
it's
is
the
the
same. Why didn't she get in contact with you? Why didn't she write you? Why was it all me? So determined to get a DNA test.
Ask her when did we go to the Social Security office together.
Brace yourself. Mrs. James drops a bomb by admitting that Ms. Beversdorf and Dakari are actually living with her right now. But wait, things are about to get even more complicated as Mrs. James explains why she wants the DNA results.
She lives with me in my home.
She lives with you now? Whoa!
Temporarily.
Because by God's law.
It don't have nothing to do with that.
My son loves her and that baby. And if there was anything in this world that I could do.
All right, here it is. The life-changing answer everyone's been waiting for.
The percentage of relatedness between Mrs. Jacqueline James and Dakari is 99%. You are related.
Whoa, this is already bonkers. Ms. Chmielewski says she had a 5-year fling with Georgie, who sadly passed in a motorcycle accident, leaving behind their son Xavier. Get ready, this family mix-up is only just starting to heat up.
Ms. Chmielewski, you say you had a loving 5-year relationship with the defendant's son Georgie, who unfortunately died in a motorcycle accident. You claim the defendants initially accepted your son Xavier, but now need proof that they are Xavier's grandparents.
All right, buckle up. This story just keeps getting wilder. When Judge Lake asks about her connection to the defendants, Ms. Chmielewski says her son needs family because he already calls Georgie's mom Nana. Things are starting to get seriously tense, and you can feel the awkwardness in the room.
My son needs his family. He calls her Nana, and she's been in his life. We need answers. He has nobody.
Okay, let's keep it real, please.
Take me to the day you found out Georgie passed.
I was devastated, heartbroken, confused.
But why? I just making me understand one thing.
This part is totally eyebrow-raising. Mr. Long straight up says he doesn't believe this whole 5-year relationship thing and claims he's never even seen her at their house. Trust me, this story just keeps getting more tangled and confusing.
5-year relationship? Why don't I know about you?
Never heard of her.
I've never seen you at my house.
Did you ever ask Georgie why you haven't introduced me to your parents?
No, because we were just friends. It was like a sexual friendship that we had for.
So how did you find out he
was him
passed
having a
away?
girlfriend? I know his
Yeah,
girlfriend.
no matter who we were with, we still had sexual relations.
You think this can't get crazier? Think again. Mrs. Brown says that 2 years later, a friend told them Xavier might be Georgie's kid, so she finally decided to dig into it. The crowd is definitely on edge, wondering where this is all going next.
What had happened was she says that this baby's Georgie's. 2 years passed. The only reason why I pursued this is because a friend of Georgie's told him, you need to find out if this baby is Georgie. So it's other people in the neighborhood must be saying something because he came to me after 2 years. He brought this to my attention.
It's like a ping pong match of feelings at this point. Judge Lake asks why they waited so long to get a DNA test, and Ms. Chmielewski explains she and Georgie tried to do a home DNA test, but couldn't afford it before he died. The stakes keep rising as everyone realizes how messy this could get.
Because you feel like they don't
you
know?
Want it to be George. She wants it to be Georgie.
He and Georgie was doing a home DNA test a couple months before he had passed. And we couldn't come up with the money. After, I think it was like 5 months, then he had passed away. So then that's when I went to the...
How old was Xavier when Georgie died?
He was 2 weeks before he turned 1.
Plot twist. Just when you thought things couldn't get more tangled, Ms. Chmielewski drops the bomb that there's one other possible father, a guy who was tragically eliminated when she was pregnant. Courtroom can hardly believe this new twist, and everyone's ready to see what's coming next.
It can't be.
So there's one other man besides Georgie.
No.
Did you ever tell the other guy?
He had passed away when I was 5 months pregnant.
Oh.
He had got murdered. A family member of mine had contacted his family. They did not respond. Xavier turned 2, and they said if I come up with the money, then they'll do the test.
It's heating up, and we're talking major drama now. Ms. Chmielewski says she tells Xavier that Georgie is his dad, showing him videos and calling him daddy. This is getting deep, and everyone's wondering what the DNA test will reveal.
Miss Chmielewski, when you talk to Xavier about his father, he's 2 now. Do you talk to him about his father? Who do you tell him his father is?
I tell him Georgie's. That he watches his videos, and I say, you know, that's daddy.
He calls him daddy.
Because either way, Georgie told me no matter what the results were when he was alive, that he was going to be in his life.
And now for the part that had everyone saying, wait, what? Mrs. Brown brings up this wild ghost video that Ms. Chmielewski showed her, where Georgie's spirit supposedly appears. You can feel everyone wondering, did she just try to prove paternity with a ghost?
Hey. What about the video?
The spirit video.
The video you showed me.
So now tell me about this video you mentioned.
This video is when me and my friends were sitting in the car.
She's trying to convince that there's a video with a spirit of Georgie in the video.
Oh.
Because I feel like he is
this the video?
Like
Hold on.
It's time to bring out the big guns. Judge Lake knows they're all waiting on the edge of their seats, so she reminds them they need this test for Xavier's future. This is the moment the whole room has been waiting for.
You understand, Miss Chmielewski, even if out of the kindness of her heart, even out of her grief, she says, just have the baby call me Nana. And the real truth is you don't know for certain. I have the results, and we can all find out for certain right now.
Boom, here comes the jaw dropper that leaves everyone in shock.
The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Brown and Mr. Long and Xavier Chmielewski is 0%.
Get ready, because this starts off intense and only gets wilder. We're barely a minute in, and already both sides look like they're about to throw down, and it's only getting started.
Miss Cameron, you tragically lost the love of your life 3 years ago and find yourself standing before me fighting to prove that he is your child's biological father. Furthermore, you claim you desperately need to determine paternity so that you can file for the death benefits to support your family.
Talk about family drama. Ms. Melvin goes into how her whole family is totally freaked out and upset by what Ms. Cameron's doing. With emotions running high, it looks like this family feud is only going to heat up from here.
I'm speaking for myself as well as my family. Disturbed us all. My mom would have liked to be here today as well, but very distraught. She just couldn't face it to come. Just the whole situation of losing my brother as well. We lost him, and just the whole situation of her getting pregnant, it just doesn't add up.
You don't think this child is his?
I don't think it's his.
And now we're hitting scandal territory. It's a major bombshell, and you can feel the drama rising, especially as Ms. Cameron tries to keep her cool with Ms. Melvin's doubts piling up.
During this time, your brother's in a relationship with Ms. Cameron. You know about her, right?
Correct.
And so you still feel like she's trying to get something that isn't entitled to her?
Well, there's a couple things. He had came to me, it was a month, and I work an urgent care, and I see a lot of stuff, so he told me. I said, are you sure he was like, man, I haven't done anything. I loved her.
This is one of the saddest and most intense parts so far. The whole courtroom feels the weight of her loss, but as sad as it is, the big paternity question is still hanging in the air, making everyone wait for more.
Miss Cameron, you said he passed away when you were 12 weeks pregnant.
Yes, and we did not know the sex of the child.
Had you told anyone?
Yes, I told my best friend April, I told my mother, and I told my father. I don't know who he told, but I know that's the 3 people I told. Said wait for a couple days to make sure, because it was a home pregnancy test that we took.
Just when we thought it couldn't get more complicated, here comes the timeline drama. With dates that don't seem to match up, Ms. Cameron is in for more challenges as they try to piece together what really happened.
After, so she's pregnant, I was taking her to her appointments. And I brought a calendar to show you some things from when we went to the appointment on June 28th. So from June 28th, with her due date of her supposed to be getting pregnant, this would have been when she got pregnant. And my brother was not even around because me going to an appointment with her and
you
getting
went to the doctor with her on June 28th?
Yes.
And the doctor doctor said she's 6 months pregnant.
Yes.
Things take a wild twist with this sign from beyond moment. It's a surprising, heartfelt moment, but Ms. Melvin isn't impressed, and it's clear she's still ready to throw down with more skepticism.
I have an ultrasound picture right here. I know this might sound crazy, but I posted it on Facebook. Okay, this is his face, like we're looking at each other. If you look in the eye, that is Jackie. Look at that bald-headed, and look at the bald-headed in the eyeball. And actually, there's another face right here that looks how fat Jackie's face was.
Cue another shocker, the mom's statement. Ms. Melvin brings in a signed note from her mom claiming she saw Ms. Cameron sneaking into a car with another guy before she got pregnant. With family members coming out with more accusations, the paternity mystery is only getting more tangled.
There was a time which I have a signed statement from my mom because they live next door to each other, like creeping around the corner to get to a car which was with another man.
I was in love with Jackie. I would have never cheated on Jackie.
And it says, I am testifying that I do not believe Malachi Rathard is my grandson because I know Miss Cameron cheated on my son shortly before she got pregnant.
The twists keep coming as Ms. Cameron's best friend steps up to defend her. But Ms. Melvin's not convinced, and the whole courtroom is on edge, waiting for those DNA results.
That Miss Cameron was cheating with this other guy.
No, Miss Melvin, she was not cheating. This is my best friend. It's been my best friend for 16 years. Date did occur. She came to me and she told me because she felt so guilty about it. Hung out, talked, went to the movies.
But how do you really know she didn't have sex?
I can only go off what my best friend has told me, and she's never, that to my knowledge, has lied to me before.
Here comes the moment of truth, and everyone is holding their breath.
It has been determined by this court. Miss Duhamel is related to Malachi Rathard.
Thank you. Now, do you believe me? I was being honest with you.
All right, buckle up because Ms. Kiles is bringing the drama right away. And just wait, because Ms. Light's about to drop some major accusations.
Ms. Kiles, you have opened your case to prove to the defendant that her deceased son, James, is your 14-month-old daughter, Ava's biological father. You state that you know the defendant is in pain due to the loss of her son, but so are you.
Ms. Light comes in swinging, calling Ms. Kiles a liar and saying she can't trust her one bit on this whole James is the dad story. And get ready, because what she says next will hit you right in the feels.
Ms. Light, you say Ms. Kiles is a pathological liar, and you claim that as much as you would love for a piece of your son to be here, you don't trust that baby Ava belongs to him.
Oh man, tissues out. Judge Lake asks Ms. Light if she loves Ava, and she breaks down, calling Ava her heart. Next up, she'll explain why she's so suspicious.
Ava's 14 months old.
Correct.
Have you formed a bond with her?
Yes, that's my heart. My son was raising her. If she wasn't with my son, she was with me. But
the doubt is still eating away at you.
It's killing me. It was just a lot going on.
Get ready for some soap opera levels. Ms. Light recalls a time when James called to connect with Ava, but some random dude picked up and said he was Ava's dad. And as these two moms keep going, the room's about to get even more heated.
He came to me so many times. After he moved her to Oklahoma and got everything furnished, another man answered the phone and tried to claim to be Ava's father and be in her life now and all this other stuff.
That's a lie. So another man answered the phone and told your son Ava's father, and I'm in her life now.
Things are messy as Ms. Kiles talks about drama over who could come into her house, a big point of tension when she and James were still together. And believe me, the room's about to get real heavy with the next part of her story.
You were having relationship issues in terms of boundaries. Take me to the point at which Ava was born. Was Mr. Miller with you at the hospital?
No, it was just me and my 2-year-old daughter.
Did you call him to say baby's being born?
No, he would have been there. That's something he would have never wanted to miss.
And this next part's like something straight out of an action movie. Ms. Light describes how James got shot while Ava was in the car, and somehow, miraculously, a bullet missed Ava by just inches. And Judge Lake, she's about to dig into the real deal with James's fatherhood.
All I know is something happened, some girls arguing, and another guy came and shot my son. And the girl tells me that all she could do was pull him into the car and drive off. And they kept shooting, so I know it was God, but I don't know what stopped the bullet hole from hitting my grandbaby other than God. Because it was a bullet hole that either the door or her car seat stopped it from hitting her.
Now, it's time for some heartfelt family talk. Ms. Light says her family took in Ava like she was totally one of their own, and you won't believe what she suspects next.
And so your son was raising her. He was her dad. She was
Yes.
in the car with your son.
Yeah, just came and got her from me.
So you all were raising this baby. Like, this is your biological grandchild, this is your son's child, and he had her name tattooed on his face. Did he
Ava.
ever tell you that her legal name was Skylar?
No.
Ms. Light is practically crying as she talks about how James would buy all of Ava's essentials, even asking his mom to do her hair for special events because he was so proud. But wait till you hear what she says next. It's a plot twist.
He did everything for his baby. Cash, milk, everything for that baby. Everything. For Memorial Day, he asked me, he brought her clothes and stuff over there. Mama, can you do her hair in a couple of ponytails? Because he didn't allow nobody to touch her hair. Couldn't touch them curls. And she hung out with Grandma. She was with me.
All right, here's where things get weird. Judge Lake asks about another guy who Ms. Light says looks kinda like James, and apparently this dude was seen with Ava. And let's just say, things are about to get even more intense.
And you believe she has a different name because another man is her biological father?
Yeah, I think it's possible. The situation where she said it never happened, where some man answered the phone, some tatted over his eyes.
And so you felt like the guy looked similar to your son?
Somewhat, not as handsome, but...
Emotions are sky high as Ms. Light explains she's trying to confirm Ava's paternity to honor her late son and make sure Ava gets the family name. Hold tight, the DNA results are about to hit.
She didn't have to get that baby away because that baby would have been and is well taken care of. I just want that to be my grandbaby so we can do the right thing and get her name what it's supposed to be, Ava Jashay Miller. And that meant so much to my son, and that's why I know it, because I lost a daughter and her name Ashaya.
Judge Lake gives Ms. Kiles a final chance to share anything new, but she's cool and calm, saying she's already told her truth. What's coming next could change everything.
Ms. Kiles, I'm about to go to the results. Before I do, I just want to make sure that there is not any other piece of testimony that you've left out that you would like to share or you feel like you need to share.
No, Your Honor. I said my truth.
I think it's time we get the results. Jerome?
Here it is, the moment everyone's been waiting for.
It has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Light and Skylar Ava is 99%. You are related.
You wouldn't believe this one, folks. It's like a soap opera right from the start. The audience is locked in, and you know things are about to get messy with both sides ready to rumble.
Ms. Mayo, you're here today because you filed a paternity suit against Mr. Brown, who you claim is your 2-month-old fraternal twins, Chloe and Carter's biological fathers. You say when today's results prove your case, you want him to pay you $1,000 for half of the child rearing expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
This backstory is bonkers. How did they get here? Mr. Brown says he hasn't paid a single dime because he doesn't think he's the dad, claiming she trapped him, whatever that means. This was no ordinary friendship, and with every new detail, it just gets crazier.
Mr. Brown, is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why is that?
Because I don't believe they my children.
I don't know why you feel like that, and you know they're yours.
For one, I feel like she trapped me.
I never trapped. How did I trap him? I didn't want to have no child with you. So I wish I would have never got pregnant.
Why was you messing with me from the beginning? Why was you messing with me from the beginning?
Because at first we was friends. Why you putting on the show? Before any of this happened, we was friends.
Here's where the story goes off the rails a little more. This is truly some high-level drama. Judge Lake's eyebrows raise as these two argue over who said what. If you thought things were tense before, just wait.
We had a talk. I told her to go get on birth control.
You never told me that.
We go from the birth control. One day, I'm at her house, we just kicking it, you know what I mean? That she can't have no children. Her last child was never supposed to be here. How the doctor told her that she would never have children again. When she presented me with all this, I feel like I'm safety net. I got a safety zone, like, okay, she can't have children.
Now it's time for Mr. Brown's very interesting reasons why he thinks he's not the dad. Judge Lake gives him a side eye as he tries to explain his eyebrow suspicions.
So what is your doubt?
They don't look like me for one. I got very distinct features.
Everybody in America knows that when newborns are born, they don't look like no one. Wonder what this is.
As you can see, I got very thick eyebrows. This is a distinct feature of me.
They were just born. Look at Chloe's eyebrows. Look at Chloe right now.
This me. Thick eyebrows. This them.
This is getting good. This part is both sad and awkward because Mr. Brown doesn't even know that one of the twins, Chloe, was born deaf. This whole scene is intense, and it really feels like Judge Lake is about to give him a serious talking to.
Okay, he don't even know what's going on with Chloe. Chloe was born deaf. He don't know that. He don't know nothing. My child can't
ain't here. Man, you can at least be there. I'm here with them 24/7 by myself. My child is there. Can't hear nothing at all. And you ain't doing nothing. When you find out today, are you gonna help do this? I gotta take sign language class. Do you know, man, you don't understand what I go through.
Get ready to feel broke just listening to this part. It's all about the bills. The price tag makes everyone stop for a second, and you can see Mr. Brown start to sweat as it's starting to feel very real.
Okay, that's my expenses, like from their car seats, they strollers, clothes, bills, everything.
And you've been doing this by yourself?
Yes, ma'am. They're formula. They both on different milk.
So we've got clothes, baby needs, milk, toiletry, totaling $2,000, which is why you're suing Mr. Brown for $1,000 because he would be responsible for half if he's in fact the biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
It's the big reveal, folks, and everyone is on the edge of their seats. Seriously, it's intense.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are the father.
Oh, buckle up, because this case starts with fireworks and finger pointing from the get-go. Meet Ms. Everyone in the courtroom is watching, wide-eyed, as this emotional train pulls out of the station.
Ms. Sherman, you claim the defendant is taking advantage of your grieving aunt emotionally and financially by claiming your deceased brother is her child's father. You need today's results because you won't allow your aunt to support a child who is not your brother's.
Plot twist alert. Ms. Costello stands up, and she's not here for Ms. Sherman's accusations. With every word, you can feel the plot thickening like gravy at Thanksgiving.
My aunt threw Marissa a baby shower, supports this baby financially, as in buying his diapers, his clothes. If he has a doctor's appointment, she is there, and that's not right if she doesn't know that the baby is his.
Your Honor, that's his family. Erica was there with me at the hospital when I had the baby, and when Ryan was born, she saw the crown of his head and said, he is a Sherman.
Now, Ms. Sherman's aunt is on the stand, and oh boy, she's letting her emotions pour out. Meanwhile, Ms. Sherman's skepticism is about to hit a serious test.
When I seen the crown of that baby's head, I'm like, and I just started crying. I said, that's my baby. It don't replace him, but having him in my life, it helps me deal with him not being here. I need him to be Ryan's, because I can't say what will happen if it comes back that he's not, because that baby means so much to me.
Ms. Sherman's doubt is no joke. It's like she's building a wall, one doubt at a time, while the room waits to see who will break first.
For one, Your Honor, my brother told me that he doubted the baby because he wasn't for sure if Marissa was actually pregnant, and then he wasn't for sure if the baby was his. I'm not saying even that this is not my brother's baby. I love him, but I'm not finna get attached to a baby if I don't know, because I can't do that for me. I can't sit here and be like, that's a part of my brother, and then it end up not. But when we were in college, Your Honor, they were both unfaithful.
If you thought things were messy before, wait until you hear about Ms. Costello's love life with Ryan. It's a tangled web of love, hurt, and mistrust, and every detail adds another puzzle piece that makes everyone squint just a little harder at this story.
I found out I was pregnant in the middle of March. At that point in time, I contacted Ryan and I told him, hey, I think I'm pregnant. And at that point in time, he was like, well, is this my kid? It was a slap in the face because I know he had room for doubt, because when we broke up in the beginning of January, I started to talk to somebody else. He started to talk to somebody else. After me and the other guy had intercourse with each other.
Tensions are sky high as Ms. Sherman gets feisty with Ms. Costello over her dating history. It's a ping pong of accusations until Judge Lake steps in with a cool it, ladies, and shifts the focus back to the facts.
You just said you were sleeping with somebody else.
I know, but at the same time, I knew for the fact Ryan was the very last person that I slept with.
I never said Ryan was a saint. Y'all was both sleeping with other people. How you got no doubt if you were sleeping with somebody else the next week?
If you look at my son and you look at Ryan Jr., resemblance. When you look at Ryan Jr.'s baby pictures and you look at my son.
He doesn't look like my brother.
With emotions in the danger zone, Judge Lake takes the reins. This calculator just added a whole new layer of maybe to the mix. The tension is now so thick, you could spread it on toast.
So the best way to figure this out, to go to my conception calculator.
Baby Ryan's birthday is October 27th, 2017.
I put that birth date in, October 27, 2017, and press calculate. Calculates the window of conception as February 1st to February 5th, and the date of intercourse between January 29th and February 5th.
If you were hoping things would calm down, nope. Ms. Sherman and Ms. Costello are practically nose to nose, clashing over who has the right to claim this child. But let's be real, the emotions are on full display, and everyone in the room can feel it.
Like I said, I do not just say this is my nephew. If you go on my Facebook, his pictures are everywhere. That's not it. I'm not just saying that this is not my brother's baby. I want to make sure. You see how my aunt is looking? How she is crying? My whole family is like this. Because if I have doubts and that is my brother baby, I still want to be there.
Now, it's Ms. Sherman's aunt's time to shine, and she drops a little bombshell of her own. With every word, her belief in this bond grows stronger, and the drama in the room only deepens.
After my nephew died, and she was honest with me because she know me. I don't pick sides, and baby girl just tell me the truth. I know exactly when she said she had sex with Ryan. Then she told me she had sex with Ryan. She had sex with the boy at the beginning of January. Used her was she had a period in January, but didn't have a period in February. So she was confused.
Ms. Sherman is now wrestling with the possibility that her brother may not be this child's father. It's a gut-wrenching moment, and her raw emotions are setting the stage for what's coming. And now, the big moment.
Unfortunately, Ryan passed away before baby Ryan was born.
Yes.
Have you even considered that if this baby is not your biological family member, what will you do?
Honestly, I don't know. I have a bond with that baby.
The DNA test results are in, and bam!
It has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Nalencia Sherman and Ryan Costello Sherman is 97.8%. You are related.